Hi everybody, and welcome to another very special hobby hang here with Kat and I at Titan Studio. I am getting seriously ready for BAO. Kat, what are you up to?
I am painting my Gloomspite along with you. Just kind of a support system.
Support buddy, AOS support buddy.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm today going to work on a cart, one of the Cauldron of Blood. I've got the base, I've got the riders, I have some of the statue, but I'm going to just do this cart. It's actually going to be kind of quick, but I'm excited. It's going to look wild. I've been leaning into my kind of synthwave slight vibe for this army. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's get creative. Kat, show us what you are working on here.
I have my my Mangler Squigs, which if people were watching like a couple months ago at this point, might look a little bit familiar, but I have gone in and done some brush highlights on different parts of them that I couldn't necessarily reach, or in I guess the precise way that I wanted to with an airbrush last time I was on here. But it has made a couple parts jump out a lot, and so I think initially what I'm going to do right off the bat is jump in with an airbrush and blend some of this stuff in a little bit better. It's not so bad on this one, but on this guy it's very stark, especially right here. But yeah, I got
These look crazy beautiful though.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like them a lot. I also have, in case I don't know, get bored of painting these guys, my Boing Rot Bounders over here. They're in a bunch of different pieces.
Yeah, I kind of want you to show what you did here, because I'll be honest, I thought this was pretty intense.
Yeah.
The effort you've gone to here. Show
for like an infantry unit. Yeah.
Well, listen. I like it. I think you did the right thing. But it's not just that you sub-assembled.
Yes.
You actually disassembled.
Yeah. So a lot of them, because the way that the Squig Hoppers or the Boring Rot Bounders go together is you have the body of the little guy, and you can kind of see here, like I airbrushed these with the goblins on. And then I actually had to go in and rip them off, which was fun because I did plastic glue these. But it wasn't so bad. They ripped off pretty cleanly.
Oh, I see. Okay, wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is still commitment, but I will say this is now less impressive than I originally imagined.
Oh, okay.
I originally understood it as you disassembled like a GW model, like how it was built. Because you were like, oh, this one will be easier.
Oh no, yeah. Not like that necessarily.
Look, I'm not judging. I'm a little less impressed.
Fair, but I had a little bit of like, I guess, trouble deciding what I wanted to do with their cloaks, and so this guy here. I want to hold up one that's like a little bit easier to hold up. This guy. This is essentially what I ended up with. This was originally what I was going to do, was have them have like gray cloaks with these like little stars and stuff on them.
I see. Yes, which looks awesome.
But you pointed out something that I noticed as well too. It just looks like I primed it and then painted some stars on it.
It's crazy, right? It's unfortunate. There's almost like this color of gray that you're not allowed to use on your models because it's the color of gray
plastic.
Right?
Yeah.
So you almost like can't use this color.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Initially because like I
you had the thought yourself. It was like it was already festering a little bit, right?
Yeah. Initially, because I know that originally their cloaks are black. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted it to be cute, and I was like, well, what's less harsh than black? It's gray, but this gray, it just ended up looking like unpainted plastic.
It was weird. Yeah. I saw it in the bin, and I was like, whatever that is looks really cool, but my brain, I almost could like feel my brain telling me it was something unpainted.
Yeah.
But like I knew it wasn't because I could see the stars on it, so I was like, what is going on? I think honestly, after having said that, I still sort of feel like if you just did the whole army like that, it wouldn't.
It would have. I think it would have been
read
fine.
that way.
I think it would have
Yeah,
been fine.
I think it'd been fine.
But yeah, I debated a bit on like what I wanted to do.
But you have this other choice here now, right? Now you have.
Yeah, which is the dark blue to like purpley pink highlighted stuff,
Yeah.
which is the exact same color combination that the Mangler squigs are. It's just the blue is more prevalent in the capes, and the Mangler squigs, the pink and the purples are much more prevalent, because if I turn them around, you can kind of see that they're dark blue underneath.
Right.
And so that added a little bit more cohesion with my army. So I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
And then I am going to then go in and paint these little stars and stuff on their capes. So yeah, I've done, I want to say, I think I have majority of their capes still to do, but I've done a lot of work on them.
But it feels like a Mangler squig kind of a day.
Yeah. I was debating on what I wanted to do, and I'm like, honestly, because I've set my Mangler squigs aside for a while because I needed an airbrush and I didn't want to set up an airbrush, and it's just I've been procrastinating on them for a little while. So
oh my gosh, I'll set up an airbrush to like airbrush someone's hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like always ready to set up an airbrush. Like if I'm like cool, I can just like do this with an airbrush, I will set up an airbrush.
And I dropped something, so it's okay. But it's okay. I didn't really actually need that color. I'll pick it up later.
Yeah, you know what? It's always an option.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'll show you guys what I'm working on here. Not quite as nice of a view, but I am working on one of these blood cauldrons that are in my new army, Daughters of Khaine, which I am going to be using at BAO. Very excited. We even have the new book. If you noticed, it was actually the new book was actually yep, that's right, mirror behind me there. Lots of fun. So I am currently working on one of these cauldrons, which I may or actually may not use in my BAO list, to be honest with you. But I've got the riders done. I've got the Slaughter Queen, who's going to be going on top of it, done. Maybe a little later, we'll get them on the Gland Cam when this is all finished. But I do have the actual avatar of Khaine himself to do. There he is. Okay. Lots of fun. So, like I said, moving forward with this sort of synthwave set of colors that I'm doing on these on this army, and yeah, a lot of fun. Actually, this is I've been painting 40 witch elves for like 2 weeks now. Now,
Yeah.
to be fair, I've been doing a lot of other stuff when I've been painting 40 witch elves. I think I painted a few other units for this army, kind of casually threw in a Night Lord's army in there as well. That was actually on GW's site today, so we were really excited about that here at the studio. Me, Bridger, and Adrian all worked on that army. If you get to see the Warhammer community post today, it's about Night Lords and the Horus Heresy, and there's the picture of the army we painted, which is very cool. Except for the Spartan, which wasn't in the picture, the big kind of vehicle.
Yeah, the big tanky thing.
So Bridger put that army together, Adrian did the bases, and I did the rest. And of course, we've thanked him already a number of times, but once again, our dear friend Andrew in the area, who is really the one who showed me that technique for painting that army. So I've done a lot else while I've been painting 40 small elves.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to give them infantry treatment plus, not just infantry treatment. So infantry treatment plus, I call it. Just a little bit more elevated than...
A little bit more work than what you would normally
than what I've
do.
done in the past,
Yeah.
right? So they're taking a little bit longer. I think this weekend, Saturday or something, Sunday, I can't remember what day, I just hung out with Meg and painted 80 boots. They all have boots on, and I painted 80 boots. That's just like what I did that day.
Yeah, and for those of you asking, the Bay Area Open is next weekend. It starts Friday.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I have a little bit of time. So a lot is done already. what I have left to do, I'm calling the Witch Elves almost finished. First of all the bases are done for this whole army, which is really nice. So bases are done. That's like a huge plus, right? That's like a big burden off of you when I think you're painting, right? To just be like, oh, cool, the bases for this army are all done, and I don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. Bases are done. All the little characters are done. And what is left is Canaanite Shadow Stalkers, who are about 2/3 done. What has really not happened at all yet are some of the Snake Ladies, 10 of them. Haven't really started them. Nor have I started Big Marathi. So it's really just Big Marathi and the Snake Ladies.
Which you painted one of them last week.
Yeah, I painted the character leader.
Right.
I have like a unit that looks a little bit different. They'll actually be a little more challenging than her to paint.
Oh,
not just because of the number, but they're not Medusas. They're Melusai, which are like the hybrid, half elf lady, half Medusa thingies.
Okay.
So yeah. But
how many is in a unit?
Well, I have a unit of 10.
Oh.
And they're a little bigger, and the bottom half of them is a snake that I have like an airbrushing thing down that I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. So it's like way less work than 40 Witch Elves. It's like 10 slightly larger Witch Elves, only the top half.
Yeah, and then you can dry brush some metallics, which turned out very nice.
I'm not on them. No, they're like skin. They're like,
oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So no dry brushing metallics on them. But I'm feeling fairly confident about what I can get done by then. It's kind of the thing I'm doing right now, so I'll be okay. And if any of you guys are going to BAO, very excited to see you there. I've already encountered a few fans who are going. Mm-hmm. And yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
To meet people, even some who are going to. We have a fan who's been around for a while, Hamsterdam, who's both a fan of hobby and tabletop Titans. And I don't know if Hamsterdam's in the room today, but Hamsterdam will be playing AOS, so I'll get to hang out with him in that room. It's very few. It's so much smaller. It's very different, the AOS event than
the big giant
40K event. Yeah. There's like 50 of us, I think. In like a smaller room, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I will be there, not at the tournament, but at the attached convention.
I'm sorry. I keep asking you this, and I keep forgetting your answer. Will you be? The BAO is kind of funky, guys, because if you haven't been there before. I think this is the last year they're doing it this way, but it's this kind of blend between Frontline Gaming and this event in the Bay Area called KublaCon. Mm-hmm. And they really have two hotels.
Yep.
One is KublaCon.
Yep.
And one is the BAO.
Yep.
More or less, right?
Yep.
And will you actually be at, what hotel will you be at? Will you be at the 40K hotel or the KublaCon?
The KublaCon hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is one of the bigger local shows in the BAO, or the BAO, in the Bay Area, sorry, for tabletop gaming.
Yes.
And in just general sense of the phrase. And it's more so like a board game thing, but it's grown definitely for sure. And Game Castle always brings a massive.
You guys bring a store. There's a store. There's basically a Game Castle store there.
Yeah, and that's how we do all of our conventions. We try and make it like, you get like a mini Game Castle store experience.
Yeah.
And so, there will be the Game Castle booth inside of the vendor hall. We will be the first thing that you see the moment you get into the vendor hall. So,
cool.
And being I guess the only one from the director team left in the Bay Area for that weekend. Yeah, I will be running that booth. So. Yeah.
So I know our friend of the show, Seth, and good friend in general, Seth, is going to be at the Star Wars thing.
Yep.
You're here. You said the other people. There's another thing going on, right?
Yeah, so Seth will be at Star Wars Celebration down at Anaheim, which is the same weekend. And then the CEO of Game Castle will be at Collecticon in Dallas.
Collecticon.
Which is more so just like a... I think it's mainly a like card thing.
I see.
Or like collectible card thing, or like just collectibles show. So it has less to do with tabletop gaming and more to do with like the collector side of things. So like Pokemon cards or Magic cards, stuff like that.
Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be the only one left in the Bay Area as far as like the three main people who run the show.
Boy, I'm curious. And we're coming out. This is the first BAO since COVID.
Yes.
But KublaCon, BAO, same weekend as Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
That's almost like. Is that a nerd faux pas? Is that a nerd scheduling faux pas?
No, because it's also the same weekend as Fanime as well too.
Fanime's in the same town. Fanime's in San Jose. You mean San Jose Fanime?
Yeah.
So Fanime in San Jose.
Yeah.
San Jose Fanime.
Yes. San Jose, if Fanime's in San Jose, BAO and KublaCon are in Burlingame, which is just south of San Francisco. And then, Star Wars Celebration is in Anaheim.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's just a general thing of like, there's just a lot of conventions that happen.
It's Memorial Day weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend, right? Yeah.
A lot of stuff in general happens Memorial Day weekend. So,
okay, that's right. That's actually what I sort of forgot. Well, Kat, we do some super chats, and I'm going to ask Kat to read super chats because right before the show, I destroyed one of my contact lenses in the bathroom. This is a little more information than you guys need, but I can't see anything you're typing in the chat. So if you guys are making fun of me or anything, which happens, right, I won't be able to see it. Today, I can't even respond. I'm totally vulnerable to that. Now, I will say that I did listen to some hyphy music.
You did your homework.
I did my homework. Actually, one sec. I listened to that whole playlist you guys did while I was painting. And here's the brown paper. I took notes on every song, and I can go through a few of them. I took notes, and I have some thoughts on the playlist you guys sent me.
Yeah, it's like Nerd breaks down hyphy music. Which I think is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's
scroll down a little bit.
Let's see. Here we go.
All right, so thank you, Brett Kitchen. Hey there, airbrush question. GW Air Paints and Liquitex inks are running out of my Infinity with no extra thinning. Try higher PSI or other issue. Now, by runny, do you mean like it's like dripping off of your needle? Because if that's the case, then you might need to tighten up any of your fixtures because it should be like watertight, essentially. This sort of
sounds like, in my opinion, you're on the verge of a good problem.
Right.
The good problem is that if you can get these coming out of your paintbrush, and I use Citadel Air, Brett Kitchen as well, and I am not. I don't thin them, and I run them out of both the Patriot and the Sotar. All the colors, including tans, without ever thinning. The only time I do thin my Citadel paints, Kat, I think I should full disclosure mention this to you. I will thin one if it's very old.
Okay.
Or very empty, very near the bottom.
Right, it's like taking like a shampoo bottle and like putting some water in it.
You've seen me do that. So I'll take one that has like a little bit left and I'll squirt thinner in and just give it a really hard shake.
Yeah.
And then use it for another project or two.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. So if it's not that, it's what? What do you think it?
So if it's running out of your airbrush, it shouldn't do that and there's something wrong with your airbrush. Because like the thinnest thing that you could put through an airbrush is honestly probably like alcohol, and it shouldn't do that initially right off the bat. If you're finding that when you're spraying it onto your model and it's pushing it around on your model, honestly lower PSI should work. And you need to move your model more. So the thinner a paint is, the more layers you're going to put on, the more chances you have of it sort of making that sort of splatter effect. And so a lower PSI, because if the air from your airbrush is pushing it around on your model, then that's not good. There's that opening or like pulling your needle back less so that you let out less fluid is good. And yeah, essentially just kind of playing around with it a little bit. And now if you find that it's like moving around in your model, you need to move your model more. You need to let off a bit. If you want to practice, a good way to practice is with ping pong balls, actually, and sticking a couple ping pong balls on like some bamboo skewers.
We were literally just talking about this.
Yeah, priming them and then practicing with that, because there's so many different consistencies with paints, even within the same paint line.
Yeah.
And knowing how your airbrush like pushes them around and how that affects it, how you as a painter want to paint. It's just a bunch of experimentation, essentially.
For me, I will say that's a big plus to Citadel Air. When I have an AK 3rd generation interactive that I love, I really like it. Like, it goes out of the airbrush smooth. Some I have to thin, some I don't. I don't mind thinning them a little bit. But for me, I find that their line is not as consistent as the Citadel Air. And Citadel Air is very consistent until you get to White Scar. And we won't talk about White Scar.
We don't talk about
We don't talk about White Scar. Yeah. I don't know what the deal is with White Scar, but other than that, the Citadel Air line. So I feel like Brett Kitchen, I'm with Kat. I wouldn't be so quick to assume this is your paints.
Yeah.
I think everything else she said. Now, probably one of the reasons you might be assuming that, I'm curious, is other paints aren't doing this. I actually don't think that means, again, it's not the paints. Like Kat's saying, I'd be curious what's happening with water and what's happening with alcohol. Yeah. But, I mean, water, don't even worry about like isopropyl. Like, what's happening with water, right? Like, what is water doing?
What is just straight liquid doing in your airbrush? Is water, like, being funky in your airbrush? So there's different things that you can try out. If you need to tighten the like the tip of your airbrush, then that works. You know, I don't know, maybe your O-ring is cracked. If it's a new Infinity, then obviously that's a bit of an issue. But there is like a rubber ring in a bunch of different parts of your airbrush, not just the Patriot, but in the Infinity as well too. Yeah, just experiment. But lower PSI if you find that it's pushing your paint around on your model and you need to move your model more. And then essentially if it's super thin paint, you're just gonna have to go back in and put a couple more coats in. So there's that. That would be my advice. I hope it helps, Brett Kitchen. But yeah. Next one. Thank you, Evan. Hello, Kat and Zach. I wanted to get your thoughts on how to paint splotches, for example, painting squigs black, white, and tan, or tan like cows. Thank you for putting on a great show with great content.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. I painted some splotches on a horse recently, but what's your take on this?
Depends on if you want splotches or polka dots or whatever. My number one tip is to get a sponge first and dip that in whatever paint you want to like make your splotches, whatever color, and then dab that in a couple places on your squigs. And then you're going to go back in with a brush and essentially kind of trace and outline those shapes that you make. I find this to be easier to make organic shapes without having them all look the same and like you're doing like a cow pattern.
I agree with this.
That would be my
sorry, the second thing you said, I want to get I want to hear that again, actually, for myself. You said kind of let nature take its course first, which is like the sponge.
Yep.
But then you go back and address maybe particular things?
Well, because with a sponge, sometimes you get like broken edges or whatever. And if it's supposed to be like splotches on, like a cow, they're usually like smooth.
The sponge will get, and I agree. I like this because the reason I asked what she was saying is because I wanted to process it again through the context of how I do Galaxy, which is that I fling paint with a toothbrush.
Okay.
But then I know I'm going to have to go in with a brush and bring out a few, like, particular stars, right?
Yeah.
Or something came out in a way a star doesn't look, right? Like it's too oblong or something.
Yeah.
Something. So, okay. So I like that approach.
Yeah, so that would be my number one suggestion, to get like organic shapes to your splotches. Other than that, I would say using like a variety of different colors in the same shade range helps as well too, with creating a little bit more dimension. If you're trying to make it look like scale, or like just like different skin texture or something like that, go in and highlight some of those splotches with like a lighter color. Go in and put like a couple different shadows in there. You know, you're just adding different textures to really sell the look that you're going for. But my number one thing is to make it look organic, and the best way you do that is just trust chaos and get a sponge and go at it.
Let chaos take you like
yeah.
95% of the way there. Maybe be prepared to give it a little helping hand.
Yeah, because the more precise you try to make these shapes, you know, the more precise it's going to end up looking. If that's what you're going for, that's great, but it doesn't look like a natural skin pattern or fur pattern if you're trying to do that.
One of my favorite things to do, and I'll grab one here and show you, see if we can get a close-up on this. I like to use the airbrush when I'm done to put a layer over. I'm actually just going to pass this to you.
Okay.
Let it be in your view for a second, if you don't mind.
Sure.
On that horse's reared end. I think that's the official term. I did dots with a brush here, but I don't let those be the final layer because it looks goofy if you do that. Mm-hmm. So I then went over with, I think, either Uthran Gray from Citadel, Uthian Gray, Althuan Gray, or it might be actually AK Titanium White ink. Mm. But I kind of feel like when you do when you paint an animal, something like this, if you actually get up and look at a cow close, lots of times the coloring is like almost like a layer under the fur.
Yeah.
We have a cat like this. We have a black cat, but when he lays in the sunlight, you can actually see that he has like brown stripes. Mm-hmm. So I like to sort of build in, I guess, like weird sort of. There we go, shoulder. There we go. See what Cat's up to. We tried to fix the camera for Cat today. We got it a little bit better, but we gotta do that. I like to have it look like Kat and I talk a lot about like nature stuff when you're doing painting, mm-hmm. and we say that, you know, it's the thing I always get jabbed for, which is trees aren't brown, right? And so furs and colors are kind of the same way. They sort of look just one color, but if you look at it and you kind of try to see what's going on, there's actually a lot going on, and there's like these weird layers on fur of a lot of animals. Now squigs aren't furry is the thing, right?
Unless you want them to be.
I guess unless you want them to be.
You can paint some texture on them, because I mean it's the same sort of thing with your horse, right? Like horses have really fine hair. They're not fine
thin,
hair, but like
not long-haired creatures.
Yeah, it's not long,
yeah.
But it is hair, and it lays pretty flat, and you can get some like pretty cool texture on them. So yeah, you can paint texture on it. Anyway, the splotches thing, I would say just get a sponge, go random with it, and then take your brush and then sort of essentially trace those shapes. Rather than trying to come up with your own shapes in a way. So that would be my advice. There you go. All right. Thank you, Roger. Cute hammer idea for your Skaven, but with to scale to IRL my stuff, office supplies, needles, thimbles, buttons, etc. Siege engines made from rubber bands and stuff, juxtaposition of ugly and cute.
Skaven are little rats.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're cute. I would have done Skaven because I love rats, but there's not a whole lot of like updated Skaven models.
No.
So, yeah, back when I guess Warhammer Fantasy was a thing, when I first got introduced to Games Workshop in a way. I didn't play, but I liked looking at the models and stuff, and I had some friends who played. Skaven were pretty cool. I liked them a lot, but the whole like massively kit bashing stuff essentially it sounds super cute, honestly, and I think it would be sort of like a mouse guard type feel to it. Do you know mouse guard?
No.
Oh, okay. So
is it the comic?
Yeah, it's a comic.
Okay, maybe I do.
Yeah. So, or it's called like Red something. But Mouse Guard is
Redwall.
Yeah, Redwall.
I know what
Mouse
you're
Guard's the RPG, I guess, or the tabletop RPG that's based off of it. But yeah, Redwall. That would be sort of Redwall-esque. Or what's that other? Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Yep,
or
Chippendales Rescue Rangers / Redwall.
Yeah.
A classic combo.
Yeah.
As old as time.
Or what's that other like mouse movie with
Nim? The secret of Nim.
That'd be super cute.
Yeah, I was kind of getting Nim vibes from what they were describing here.
That'd be really cute. That'd be really cool. If I ever do another army, because I really want to finish this, I'm going to stick to this. I'm not going to like...
You're not? Don't. Okay.
Because there was that really cool Skaven model with the Horus Heresy stuff that they previewed, and that was really cool. But I don't know if they're going to do more. It's not part of Heresy, obviously, but it was like revealed along with all that stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know how big of a release it is. Most people have just been getting kind of like one little character, which is what they've gone so far. It looks like.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that guy was really cool. That was a really cool model.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's weirdly been. Listen, it's been a very popular line. I say weirdly because I just like. For me, I've never quite gotten the appeal of why so many people love this army, but I'm into how into people this army, I like how into people this army people are. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Did I get?
Yep.
That feels wrong. Yep. Anyway, I like how into this army people get.
Yes.
Because it's a cool army, and it does need a little bit of update love on its model line, but.
Yeah, I have a friend who's using Skaven for their Blood Bowl team, and they're cool. I like them a lot. I like the idea of the thing because it's like, oh, here's a super fantastical world, and then here's some rats. But yeah, I don't know. That's a really good idea. I think it'd be really cool. It would almost give it like kind of like a goblin effect, I think, though, because I feel like goblins just throw a bunch of stuff together and then it's like, here's what it is, right? Or orcs just throw, like, orcs are like kings of kit bashing, right? Yeah.
Sigmar orcs are a little more like noble-esque, almost savage, noble savage type, I think. But you're absolutely right, but it is very similar to goblins. I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of the thing. They're very similar to goblins. But they're chaos, right? So lots of times there's just chaos fans. Some people are just fans of all the different Chaos armies. So it is like a very unique, along with like the Beastmen Chaos army. If you like, I don't really want to play the demons or the mortals, but I want to have like this kind of bad guy army.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I get it.
Yeah. I get it too. If Skaven had more updated models, I probably would have picked them over the Gloomspite Gitz.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't. So.
Yeah. Gloomspite are.
But no, you are totally correct, Roger. That would definitely be a cute hammer thing. I think it would be adorable. So yeah, like I love rats and mice. I don't like wild ones though.
No.
Like cute. Fancy rats are cute.
Pet rats are cute. Yeah, they're very cute. They're very nice pets too, apparently.
Yeah.
The big problem is that like I have this hardcore theory, hot take here incoming.
Ooh.
Meg and I have this really serious rule where we're like, there's seriously 2 legitimate pets, and everything else is like, you have some variation of like it's some variation of an ornament or like not like a plaything, but like a.
Oh, it doesn't love you back kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so cats and dogs are like the pets that Megan and I like are like, these are pets. These are like the two
They're
acceptable
capable of
pets.
showing affection.
Yeah.
So are rats, though.
People say that.
And so are bunnies.
People say that about rats and bunnies. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I believe it. Listen, of course, I know that there are rat and bunny fans out there that are that are gonna take issue with this. And look, we have one of my dear friends in the area has always had bunnies, and we've looked after him before, and like, it's somewhat there. Like, we'd let the rabbit out and kind of hop around with our cat, and that sounds scary, but like, domestic cat is a well-fed domestic cat is no interested in like, should I just eat a rabbit right now? Maybe I'll risk my life and get my like throat slashed open by a rabbit.
Yeah, rabbits are pretty vicious.
Yeah, they're pretty mean. Like, so, our cat had like no, they just totally got along. The rabbit like did this thing where it hopped around and would do that thump to kind of scare the cat away for like the first few days. It's like a warning that they do. Right?
Sure.
But then after that, it kind of
depends
like,
on the context. Yes.
It was in a new setting, and there's a cat walking around. Like, I get it. I just never quite feel like that rabbit like was just quite there. Like,
so
mentally.
Rabbits are very.
This is what you come here for, guys. Rabbit.
They're kind of
talk?
similar. Well, because as someone who has had both rabbits and rats as pets, I know for a fact that they are capable of showing a ton of affection, but they're both very similar to how cats are, where sometimes cats have their person and that's it, right? They're affectionate with that one person.
I mean, dogs can be like that too.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. But like, that's it, right? And if someone is babysitting them or pet sitting them or whatever, you don't get that.
Like our friend, our friend has like a song she sings to it when it's breakfast time, and like she sings this breakfast time song.
Okay.
And they totally like go crazy and get excited. So like I understand that they're not stupid, and I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the love that they show is even somewhat limited. Like, cats and dogs will constantly like surprise you with like interesting ways of showing that they love you. They'll like reach up and they'll like do all kinds of weird things. Whereas I feel like I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I feel like you just need to be sent more like cute rabbit videos or something, right? Like,
oh man, you know what is insanely cute? I follow a lot of cute otter videos.
Yep.
Oh boy, those are cute.
They're super loud though.
Loud, yeah. They're always like.
Yeah. Same thing with foxes. Foxes are really loud.
And raccoon videos too. Raccoons are super smart. Oh my god, this is video of a raccoon eating grapes. It's like adorable. I love it.
Have you seen the
It's
raccoons
like
eating cotton candy? It's
No.
so sad. Well, because they
don't quite. They're not in on the joke.
No, because the thing with raccoons is they wash their food before they eat it.
Oh, and it falls apart when you wash it.
Yeah. And so like you give a raccoon cotton candy and it goes to like wash it and then it's just gone. And it's sad, but it's funny, but it's sad.
Oh my god. So it's like a raccoon prank.
Yes.
How to prank a raccoon.
How to prank a raccoon, you give it some cotton candy. But I wouldn't do that to like a wild raccoon because...
Which, depending on where you live, there's like barely any such thing as anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I've come across some raccoons where I'm just like, I don't feel like dying today. Please leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
I've had some hiss at me before. They're just, sometimes they're not great.
Wild animals. Yeah, so I can't see anything in chat. How am I getting raked over the coals with this rabbit rat comment?
I don't think so.
Looks okay.
I don't think so. I think we
I haven't been canceled by the rabbit community.
I think we're okay.
By the alternative pet community, as I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Ferrets, have you ever had like... They're illegal in California, so not a lot of people have them, but back east, on the East Coast, we had them. And I just like, they never stop moving. They're just like insane. It's just an insane smelly weasel that never stops moving. And just like, have you ever had like, you can't have them out here.
I've never seen a ferret in any other setting besides like maybe a zoo or something. Okay. Yeah. Oh no.
What happened?
It like exploded on me a little bit, but it's okay. I can.
Let's get a close up of that. Let's see what's going on.
here you go.
Let's see how's Cat gonna come back from this one, folks.
Yeah, I'm just gonna concentrate for
I mean,
a second
kind of seriously,
because
I kind of want to see what you do. Like,
I only have so much time to work with this before it dries. So.
I'm not gonna try to distract you.
So yeah, I think I
listen. I'm willing to be
though,
wild
right?
by a rat or a rabbit. Let me say that. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fair. That's fair.
Before we go any further.
Yeah. I did one time see like just a wild. I would say bunnies. I'm gonna say bunny because there's a difference between a bunny and a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I was driving home one day and someone's like pet bunny escaped.
We've seen Megan and I have dealt with this as well.
Yeah, and I'm just like, there's so many cats in this neighborhood. I hope you find your way home. I tried catching it. It didn't want me to do anything to it, so I just left it alone. So yeah, I think that's okay. I'm gonna let it dry.
There we go.
Yeah.
A true professional.
That made me very upset, but it's okay.
Well, we have this thing that we have started doing a little bit where Kat and I have been on the lookout for cool things in the community. And we want to share a couple of those that we have with you this week.
Yeah. We started it last week. And everyone seemed to be okay with it. So wanted to do a little bit more. It's also a thing where as similar as we are as hobbyists, we're also very different and into different things as well too. And so what I come across on like my feeds might not be something that someone else will ever see ever.
Right.
So I like exposing myself and other people to like different hobby things. So
yeah. So let me pull this up. I'll show you guys a couple cool things I found. So this is on. I'm on this actually Facebook Sigmar group. I think it's just called Age of Sigmar. It's like very generic. It's like the generic Age of Sigmar Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And this person posted this, and I let them know that I'd like to post this on Hobby Titans, and they seemed into it. I have to say, this is incredible. You guys know I painted this Fire Slayer's army, and we kind of called it like I call it an effect. You know, it was an effect, and the effect for my Fire Slayer's army was that they were in a cave, and it was dimly lit, but there's lava, blah blah blah. This feels like an effect Stormcast army, and they posted it, and they asked out, and they said, hey, what should I do to add to this? And I was like one of the first people that posted, and I was like, you know what? I really want to tell this person to not let other people comment on that. Because if you post something like this and you say, what should I add to this? You will get a million answers, and none of them are wrong, but none of them are right. People will just chime in and they'll say, you should add this, or you could add this. And I was like, nope, here's what you should add. The rest of the army. Just paint the rest of the army. Like, it looks so cool. He's going for like this hot metal look on these Stormcasts.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, no, ship it.
You think it's done at
I
that
think it's
point?
done. I think this is an effect army that he's going for. And again, he's going to be able to crank these out quick. And I think you like, you know, unless he wants, I mean, like, look, maybe he asked because he truly wants to know. But the thing I learned after I did the Fire Slayer's army, I've kind of mentioned this before, is that it really made a lot of people very angry. Very, very angry. One person's wife, I think, threw up, according to the person in the comments. It was very upsetting for a lot of people. But by a lot of people, I mean about 1%, less than 1%, a very vocal minority. Other people thought it was cool, and other people understood what it is that you're doing. So whenever you kind of do something a little bit weird like this, and then you open it up in a forum, I do think you need to be careful about that forum. As long as you can kind of say to yourself, like, what is my goal? Mm-hmm. Is my goal to have a bunch of Stormcast Eternals that look like they're hot metal? Mm-hmm. And that's what you've done. It looks so cool. I will be curious what they do with like the dragons that they're riding, or Griffhounds? Like, is everything going to be like this, or is this just the Stormcast themselves?
Yeah. So I've seen, and I wish I had a picture of it. I've seen it's sort of like reanimated statues, and those are Stormcasts. And I've seen someone do something like that. Like, oh, these are like patinaed out, like bronze statues that have come to life. They're, and that's how they've painted their Stormcasts, and I think that's really cool. I think Stormcasts definitely lend themselves to that a lot. Just given they're sort of like,
well, they almost
they don't look alive. Yeah. And that's essentially what they are, right? Like they're possessing kind of. Sort of a thing. Yeah. But I will disagree with you on like not letting other people comment. I would agree with don't let other people ruin what you are trying to go for.
Sure.
Don't let other people try and change your direction.
Of course, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But yeah, and you know, you got to know, like, if you're posting it online and you're asking like a group of thousands of people to be like, hey, what do you think?
You got to filter.
You got to filter it.
You have to be able to filter. Yeah. I guess that's my point. Kat's right. I would never universally say, don't take other people's advice. I would never universally say that. I'm not saying that here. But I'm saying, like, these aren't, this style, oftentimes if you can figure out something fast or interesting and you can get a good look from it, I don't know. I think there's people that are, like, react to that sort of oddly. They're almost like a little angry that you came up with this awesome shortcut that still looks good. And you'll get comments that are just weird, like, I don't know. So I'd say Kat's right, but have a filter for sure. Like,
yeah.
Like, what aren't you going to accept, right? Like, what are you going to accept? What aren't you going to accept? Anyway, I thought this was super cool. Okay, I had a couple other ones here. There was this Crondis that somebody painted. This thing was incredible. I think this was also in the same group, the Sigmar group I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. And this looks crazy good. Look at this.
Yeah, I was looking at it earlier when we were going through some stuff, knowing that this monitor changes colors and stuff. But it's I think you had another picture, or did you not put that in?
There is. There's a picture in the back as well. There it is.
Yeah. No, this is crazy. And I've seen people do some crazy, like, freehand stuff with these giant wings on, you know, these Games Workshop sculpts and stuff. Like, I've seen a Mortarion who had these, like, crazy eyes on them and stuff. It's impressive. But I wonder if this is just a single model, or if, like, what the rest of their army looks like.
Yeah, I think they just had this picture for now, but agree. Super cool. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, this is a product placement.
Yes.
From somebody else that gave me this product placement. This is somebody that you kind of know. Adrian knows this YouTube channel, Ninjon.
Yep.
And he did a video recently that was like, oh, here are some products that you really need to use. And I like to watch those videos and see what people are using. Because we've all kind of stumbled upon products occasionally that were like, wow, why aren't more people using this? So I picked up some of this museum wax, and originally I disliked it. And I was talking to you about this.
Yeah.
We were actually saying it has. We'll go back and do some things Kat found here in a second. But museum wax has, like, this sticky residue to it. What would you use museum wax for? Well, I use a window caulk. You guys have seen me use a window caulk, and I stick them to corks with wire on it. This window caulk right here, this cork, I did not. I use museum wax. And with museum wax, it's weird. It does leave a residue on your fingers, but you can kind of just get it off with a dry anything. Like, you don't need...
Wipe it off.
And it's really firm. It's really, like... But it doesn't feel firm. It's, like, very pliable, easy. But once you stick something to it, it's there.
It kind of reminds me of, now, if anybody had braces, the little wax that you could put on the back of your wire. Yeah.
It is similar to that. You're right, but it's a little bit more viscous than.
Okay.
It's almost too viscous. When you get it, you're like, what is? When I first got it, I was like,
oh, this is supposed to hold things?
I was like, what did I just buy? I was very reluctant when I first just got. That's okay. It's the same thing, pretty much, right? I was very reluctant, but then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of into this stuff. So check it out. It's pretty inexpensive. It's reusable too.
And you get like a huge tub.
You get a huge tub. Yeah, we got a huge tub of it. I think it was $12.
It's that tub.
Yeah,
right
and
there.
It's weirdly what it's been really useful for is just sort of around the hobby area, like, and just around the studio. I'm just like occasionally able to get, like, anytime you need something sticky.
Yeah, and you said that like you were able to like really quickly, like some models broke or something, and you're like, okay, cool, I gotta fix this super fast.
John and I had like something break right before we went live a couple weeks back over in Tabletop Titans. And I was like, let me just try this.
Yeah.
And it worked great. So.
You had a crooked picture that you fixed with it.
That's right. I did. That's actually what it's sort of supposed to be used for.
Yeah. So it's multifunctional. I have yet to check it out. I use poster tack for stuff, but that's what like all this blue stuff is here. Right. And that works for me. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On to more cool stuff. Kat, what are we looking at?
Like a cute little like cloak tutorial. I tried.
Oh, I love this guy. This guy on Instagram, you gotta follow this guy. I've been talking. This is the guy I've been.
Yeah, he has a Tesla picture. Yeah. I have a couple different things. I have some hobby painting stuff, like specifically tutorials, which is this one, and then there's another one. And then I have like some inspiration pictures, so that way I think will show a little bit more of my hobby mind, like in a different way than just like, oh yeah, let me talk about this. But yeah, this was really cool. There's this one, and then there's a non-metallic gold tutorial as well too that I also saved. But
Same guy?
No, different guy. Yeah. Different guy. And the other guy, if you're not following either one of them, I would highly recommend you follow both of them.
This guy. Can I borrow this?
Yeah.
This guy is, if you like want a reason to get on Instagram and you're a hobbyist, this guy is it.
The other guy too. If you're not following the other guy.
Who's the other one?
Roman Lapotte.
Oh yes, okay. I think I know this one. Yeah, they both do amazing.
They do amazing stuff. But the thing is that they're some of their models they seem unachievable. They seem like, oh my god, I could never do that. But then they put stuff like this out of like, okay, here's my steps, right? And then they'll explain it, and they're super nice and they're super helpful. They're definitely not like a gatekeepy hobbyist, which I appreciate. No. So yeah, I like this one. And Brent and I did capes and shading on capes and stuff months back. So this is kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh, sorry, not Roman Lapotte. Darren Latham is the other guy. But Roman Lapotte is also a really good guy to follow as well, too. This is a non-metallic gold. This is a non-metallic gold tutorial as well, too. So, it breaks it down into steps that seem achievable and like you can follow it, you know. And I find that capes and non-metallics are probably some of the more frequently asked hobby questions. So yeah, if you're ever into doing stuff like that, both of these guys are fantastic.
Yeah, no way we don't show this Instagram account more, both of these, because we both look at them. And both of these people just like voluntarily put these like very awesome tutorials, which are somewhat rare. A lot of people, like you're saying, well, you know, they want you to go to their Patreon and whatever. And it's understandable. People are trying to figure out how to make
this is their job.
Right. So there's different approaches, but I really love this guy.
Yeah, there's another guy that will probably feature later on. It's a little hard to do it in this style because most of his stuff is like, you know, clips. But there's Angel Giraldez, and he's really good too. He puts out really easy to follow tutorial videos and stuff too. So yeah, and I appreciate when people take what would be more complex, I guess, techniques, and breaks them down into like, okay, this is where I put this is where I put this. And
right.
I like looking at pictures like this because then it's just very easy to visualize, okay, this is where the shadow goes, this is what they did next.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go to the next one after this.
Yeah. Good finds. A little inspirational work. What's this? What are you thinking for this?
So I am trying to put myself into a sort of sci-fi mindset rather than like fantasy, because I'm doing a fantasy board now. I want to do a 40K table. But I aesthetically am not super drawn to a ton of sci-fi stuff. And so I found like a happy medium of like, you know, this is clearly a futuristic building, but it's been overgrown and, you know, it's got a lot of greenery and stuff. And I like, I think this guy's a digital artist, if I remember correctly. And so he has other pictures where he then goes, okay, well, here's the base of the structure, and then here it is with lighting and, you know, greenery and everything like that too. So for those of you who make a ton of terrain, these next two pictures, or well, this picture and the next one, should hopefully be inspirational. But this is a great account, and this is the actual artist who created it. I follow a lot of like repost stuff. Which I find helpful to introduce you to the actual artists and stuff, because especially the accounts that actually tag people in them.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like just following a single artist is, you almost like need some.
You miss stuff, yeah.
Luck in how you got to there, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I like you. I think this is a great way to get inspired by terrain. I've always liked to look at real life pictures. I love this site I should share called Abandoned America, but there's other ones too that are just like abandoned places.
Okay.
And they have some really cool like nature reclaiming things videos.
Yeah.
Or not videos, but images.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I specifically wanted like something very futuristic.
Right.
But speaking of real life pictures, that's what this next one is.
Yeah, this is a cool building. Where is this building? What is this building?
I have no idea. I wish I knew. I think
It's got to be Western Europe or East Coast U.S.
It's something, right? But what I liked about this was, one, it's a beautiful building, but on either side of it's like a meshing of like old architecture with like new stuff, because you can see what's next to it is essentially like a very modern, completely windowed building facade. And so I liked stuff like that. But for this one, the reason why I was like, oh, this will be great is just the little details that are on building faces. I find a lot of people miss, and or they're great to focus on when you take like a square tissue box or like a square thing, or like what we were doing with this pink foam terrain, of like you just got to break up the shape and you just got to like put stuff on top of other stuff and break up your eyesight, rather than like, oh, this is just a cardboard box. No, it's a whole entire building facade. So yeah,
sometimes like the wildest stuff ends up looking cool.
Yeah.
And you just keep going along the process. That's how these bases came to be. You were here when we did that, right? I was just like, no, I'm going to add crazy yellow crystals and all these different color plants. And look at this building. It's like it's this old building and this crazy stuff built around it. Yeah, I feel like it's got to be I wouldn't be surprised. That feels like something one of our fans might identify. Oh, does someone know?
Looks like a mall in Paris is what someone said. So.
Yeah, it looks Western Europe or maybe East Coast U.S. Would be my guesses.
Yeah, the reason why I was like, I have no idea, because I think the actual post was not in English.
Oh, I see.
And like even clicking like, oh, see translation, like didn't do anything for me.
I see.
So,
Are we on this super chat?
We're on the blue one.
Okay.
So can you scroll down a little bit? There you go. All right, so thank you, Ty. Hi, y'all. Making risers for my ruins like Moss City. Any tips/lessons from when you made them? Also, what dimensions for your Martian slab buildings, please? That'd be a you thing.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my gosh, I truly cannot read any of this without my contacts. Sorry, Kat, can you?
Yeah, read it again. They're making risers for their ruins, like Moss City. Any tips/lessons from when you made them? Also, what dimensions for your Martian slab buildings, please?
Got it.
So as risers, I'm assuming what we made for my ruins and stuff like that.
With the pink foam, yeah.
Yeah, so you made them, so I think you should take it.
Yeah. Good question. Who was this by? Ty.
Ty, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can actually see that. Good question, Ty. I used pink foam, as I think you know. And if you have, you definitely want a cutter, right? I'm always trying to tell people to get a pink foam cutter. The hand cutter will do here. And I use a T-square and I kind of mark things out. I buy the 1-inch thick pink foam, and that's how thick I make them. Both in 40K, you kind of have the ability, and in Sigmar, you sort of have the ability to decide right then and there, does this subtract an inch from movement, right? And I think in 40K it's really not supposed to. In Sigmar, it is supposed to. But I think you actually have a little bit of play there. So I don't think you have to be, sorry, Kat. I don't think you have to be specific. But I would get the foam cutter. I would get a T-square to measure things out. I would do a variety of sizes. Now, L's are really popular right now, but you don't actually have to make an L. You can make two pieces that you can later put together to make an L, if that makes sense. So that's actually what I do. I don't really cut L's. I cut
a long piece,
a longer piece and a shorter piece, and one, it's better for storage, and two, it just gives you the flexibility to change your L's up, not have L's when if L's ever go out of style or the rules change or whatever.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you were essentially trying to like future-proof.
I always try to future-proof my terrain. And one of the best ways to do that is just limit what you glue.
Yeah.
Don't glue plastic to these. Like let them sit on top of the plastic. Like go ahead and set. And it's also great. Like John and I do this when we set terrain up. We'll like clear the board, or Adrian's done this too. They'll like clear the board, and then we set the L's up. We just set up the gameplay. We say, I'll go top down. We put like one here in my deployment zone, one over there in Kat's deployment zone, one here in the middle, one over there, one over there. And then we decorate, and then we take the actual ruined pieces and set them on top. And it's kind of crazy to think about, but believe it or not, after you put those L's down, if you wanted a really unattractive looking game of 40K or Sigmar, you could be done.
Right.
You could just say, these count, this is it. We don't do that, but you could. So I would say kind of measure out. My other big tip to you would be like, how are you going to store it? Make sure your pink foam fits in where you're going to store it. Like, man, I cannot stress that one enough.
Storage.
Yeah.
Well, I think also what you used that worked really well was the texture roller.
Yeah, the texture roller is so cool. You get those on Etsy.
Yeah. So the texture roller is really cool. One thing that I've seen other people do if they don't have a texture roller is using rocks.
Yep, we've done this as
and
well. Yeah.
Foil and like pushing it into the thing.
Yeah. I think I would try. I have a rock. There's a rock behind us.
Yeah. That I was like, do you want to keep this?
You still want this rock?
When I was cleaning it out. So
that's a hobby tool.
Yeah.
Kat. You should know better.
Yeah, that's which is why
Which is why you asked.
I didn't do anything.
That.
Yeah,
appreciate that about you.
For like individual bricks, I've seen people do like essentially like rock tumblers, and like shake them up and stuff like that.
You basically put a bunch of little bricks in with a bunch of rocks and shake.
Yeah. So there's that. Other than that, really, I would agree with you. Don't commit yourself to like just a singular shape. Try and make it as modular as possible.
Yeah.
because then you can get more play out of it. Depends on how many you want to make. If you get the texture rollers, dry brushing is your friend. It's just easier to make it look better that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The texture rollers are great. You're just going to look up on Etsy like pink foam texture rollers. There's an awesome pink foam work group. Nowadays, pretty much all I use Facebook for is all these different groups I'm in. And there's an awesome pink foam group I'm in on Facebook that's super cool. So both of those really good. And the one thing I would say is if you want if you want to really elevate it, you want to really go pro, and you've got the dollars for it, I would say do look into either a Proxen or a Hercules pink foam table cutter, because we got one and it's freaking cool. I mean,
Yeah.
what you can do with it, it really turns this relatively inexpensive material, pink foam, that is just incredible for making terrain. Like, you can just do so much with it. It takes this tool, pink foam, and makes it even more versatile for you. And you don't always have to kind of build now with the guise of saying, like, okay, well, this is going to be ruined, this is going to be beat up, this is going to be messed up. You can actually build nice straight edges with this thing. Yeah.
It's also a thing where I find that it's been faster to be like, hey, we need this piece. Okay, let's just cut it out super quick. Yeah. So, yeah, it's great. If you don't have room for it, though, then...
If you don't have room for it. But it's not that big. It's like this big.
Yeah.
And I got a detachment, or a little... There's a lot of third-party parts that people make, especially for the Proxen, but more and more also for the Hercules. I'm not sure, by the way, there's a big difference between the two, so I don't know. I'm not sure I can speak to that. But the one of the third-party parts I got is this thing that helps me cut perfect circles with pink foam. That's crazy. You cannot really cut a perfect circle with a hand wire cutter, like, unless you're cool with it being kind of sloppy, right?
Right.
So that's a lot of awesome third-party equipment, like communities around the Proxen and the Hercules wire cutters.
Yeah. Other part of Ty's thing was dimensions of your Martian stuff. But if you don't know it...
Oh, of the Martian stuff. Yeah, so they are 5 slabs high. That makes them 5 inches right there, which is a magic number for 40K. So they're 5 slabs high. I'm trying to think here. And then they are... well, here's the issue when you make those, okay? When you make those, what Ty's talking about, for people who don't know, is I have these sort of large blocks. They're true line of sight blocking. They're about 5 inches tall. Ty, I think they're about 4 by 8. And I made them before 9th Ed. One thing to consider is people want ways to be able to, okay, it's a somewhat debatable issue in a conversation about rules. So keep in mind all the future-proofing stuff, blah, blah, blah. But what I will say, again, keeping them kind of small, right now, 4 by 8 sounds pretty cool. The problem is that, like, breachable, right, for infantry. Infantry are supposed to be able to just walk right through these things. So there's a couple issues there, I would say. Issue number 1 is, does that look believable? And a lot of people have a problem with that. And quite honestly, a lot of people are like, it's a newer rule. Not all 40Ks have that rule. Heresy's about to come out. I don't think it's going to be in there. If they're following 7th edition rule, you're going to have to walk around a 4-inch block with your infantry. So to be able to just suddenly like go straight through something is pretty crazy. So one of the things you want to think about is, the thicker you make it, the less likely infantry can't stop in the middle of it. And that's just something to think about. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. If you kind of end up with 4 inches, you end up with this rather thick piece that most infantry can get through. And people should know the rules for the games that they play, of course, but it can create, you just want to talk with your opponent about how you're going to play it, because lots of people will be like, wait, I wasn't expecting you to just walk right through that and charge me, right? Mm-hmm. You just want to make sure you understand the rules on that. And certainly I've taken it to the club I'm in, And people have been like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. You can't just walk right through that. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, because we talked about beforehand. And I'll be like, how do you want to play these? And they're like, no, we shouldn't be able to do that. Now, of course, like the whole concept behind terrain in 40K anyway is that like terrain is the friend of infantry, because like infantry already have this vulnerability of, you know, not, you know, of being infantry and not being in big tanks or big vehicles. Mm-hmm. And infantry often kind of doesn't benefit vehicles and stuff as much. It maybe even hinders them.
Gets in the way, for sure.
But of course, all of us currently playing 40K in the current meta know infantry's, all the best units are infantry. Mm-hmm. So, like, how much do you always want to be helping infantry? Ultimately, though, Ty, I would say when you do your dimensions, think about...
Those are things to keep in mind.
Those are things to keep in mind, and think always about future-proofing. So if you have two smaller ones that you can put together, there you go. You have options. If you have one big one, less options.
Right. So, hope that helps.
Yeah, good luck, Ty. Post pictures.
I feel like you would know this one.
This is Liberty Fires.
Yes.
And I can't tell who he's yelling at or about.
It's all caps, cat.
All caps, cat, and then lowercase, and then not caps, Zach.
And not caps.
There's a hierarchy forming, and I gotta say, I'm okay with my spot in the Liberty Fires hierarchy.
I'm also okay.
You're top for sure. I'm second. Because when he donates during a Titans game, it's always me that gets the top billing. So Liberty Fires, we're always super appreciative, and listen, one of these days, just whatever you want to know, throw in a question. We promise we'll answer it.
Yes.
But we're happy for any kind of support, including just you subtly ranking us with...
Subtly, not so subtly.
Subtly, not so
very appreciated either way.
Ranking us.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, and this next one is Rudy Picardo.
Oh, hey, Rudy.
Hi, Hobby Titans. There are a lot of great Kickstarter /Thingiverse /3D products out there, i.e. tools for pink foam, hobby wash holders, bits for minis, or terrain sets. What have you found recently or not shown on previous Hobby Titan streams?
Yeah, well, the one thing that Kat just talked about was the pink foam roller.
The texturizer stuff, which you mentioned also. You can actually get STL files for these as well too if you have a 3D printer.
Right, because this thing is just 3D printed.
And 3D print them as well too. Yeah. So that's cool because then you can get a bunch of different patterns for it. So this one's like a cobblestone pattern, but I know you can get like a rounded cobblestone or like roots and vines and stuff like that as well too.
Now I will say that Kat's not wrong, but just so you guys are aware, this on Etsy I think was like $2 or $3 or something, and I ended up paying more for shipping. And I wish I had looked at. I just needed one fast and wanted to be done with that part of my day, but I really wish I had bought like his set that he had, which is like all of them.
Oh, okay.
And I should do that. So to Kat's point, like if you're not 3D printing, but you still want these, they're not. The guy's not charging much for them. At least the one I saw.
Yeah.
Okay,
things.
I went. Your turn.
What have I not shown?
What's like a cool thing that you've not shown?
I've talked about it, and I wish I had it with me. But the Racer, RASER, is a glass file.
Oh, right.
And it is essentially simultaneously like a 400 grit. It will eat through your plastic, but it will also polish it as well too. For someone who builds Gundams, maybe you know, but I think that's great. I think the less finishing you have to do on a surface before you then go and prime it and do all this other stuff, it's fantastic. It also
Rudy builds Gundams?
Sorry?
Rudy builds Gundams?
No, just personally.
Okay, you.
But someone who builds a lot of like terrain pieces and stuff like that, and who cares about like hobby tool marks and file marks and stuff like that. I like that a lot. Now, my, I guess, number one complaint of it is just essentially the material, which you can't really do much with that. It's just not flexible. So like to get it into like tight little places and stuff is not ideal.
It's like an insane glass, basically.
Yeah, but it's super small. You can get a bigger version of it. But the racer itself, I think, is like maybe $25. And for something that you're going to have forever.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's fantastic.
What's the magazine? There's a magazine that I don't even know how it happens, but I think I get it sent to my house.
You don't know how magazine subscriptions work?
No, it's not like, well, honestly, not really, but this is not it's like a sale thing.
Oh, it's a solicitation.
Micromark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get the Micromark magazine, Rudy, and it's like a sales thing with just a bunch of products, and it's amazing. And I know it's like, oh, really? I could just look online. You can, but a lot of these companies don't have the best websites, and then they're a little old-fashioned, but they have a catalog. And so, like, yeah, the Micromark catalog is really cool. Brett and I would like just look through that. I'd like look through it and be like, okay, hey Brett, which one? Well, I still do honestly. Hey Brett, which one of these tools should I get?
It's very similar for me with this company called Uline.
Yes, Uline as well. We
Uline.
Yeah.
It's like office supplies or like commercial grade like things or whatever, or you can get like I don't know, like company T-shirts and stuff like that from. But every time you order something from them, they send you their like fat phone book, like thick catalog, and I will just flip through it. I'm like, I'm not going to buy any of this, but it's cool to see. So that's great.
We have a mail slot here at Titan Studio, and they gave us like one of those. I'm going to say official, but it's like a weird styrofoamy plastic container for your mail to go in, to go right under our slot. And there's like a Uline. There's like 2 Uline catalogs in there currently.
Yeah, so anyway, but that doesn't have anything to do with hobby stuff.
Okay, it kind of does.
I guess with storage or whatever, I don't know. It's it's one of those companies where like the more you buy from them, the cheaper it is as well too. So I use it to build out stores.
I see.
So that's essentially why we use it. But yeah, something else. Well, I would say that, and something that I recently discovered is my mini factory constantly has a store that essentially is doing like a 50% off sale. And that changes every single day. So just checking that is great.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
Because like STL files are already cheap to begin with, but to get them then 50% off is super fun.
Yeah.
So if you have a 3D printer, there's that. There's other stuff. I mean, this wet palette was a Kickstarter initially. The I don't know where the cap is. Oh, there it is.
Hey, Kat, while you all your paint, your bag of paints.
Yes.
Do you have? I don't necessarily need this, but it'd be kind of fun. Do you have a silver that's lighter than Runefang's silver?
Yeah. So actually, it's not going to be in this bag. It's going to be in my briefcase.
Oh, I'm sending you to the briefcase.
Yeah, so I will go get that. But the Exemplar wet palette was a Kickstarter initially. And I like it a lot. And I think I've talked about it before of how great it is as a travel palette because the top opens up and you can put all your paintbrushes in it. And then what I did essentially when I went to Adepticon with it was I took the little plastic bag that all of the papers come in and I just shoved it in there and I closed it up. But I like that it has a locking feature on it. And it kept it really like watertight in my backpack.
I see.
Which was great because then I was going to different hobby classes and stuff and my sponge like wasn't necessarily fully dry.
Are these 3 different?
Yeah, those are 3 different ones.
These are all lighter?
Those are all lighter than Runefang.
Wow, okay. Aluminum. So I feel, wow, dark aluminum.
Yeah.
Dark aluminum and aluminum are identical. They're
No.
this
is why I put
the colors
swatches on the top, so you can see. Because
for stuff like this, it's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, dark aluminum is good. Okay, we're gonna use these two. I don't know that we'll also use aluminum.
So yeah, the Exemplar palette was a Kickstarter. I also believe the Everlasting Wet palette was a Kickstarter as well too.
I think yes, yeah.
Yeah, so
the Red Grass Games one.
Yeah. This one was good. They have a hobby holder, like a little mini holder that I don't like. I prefer the Red Grass Games mini holder over the Exemplar or the Game Envy mini holder. And then initially I wasn't super like I wasn't super like in love with the Exemplar Wet palette. I do prefer for everyday use my Everlasting Wet palette, the extra large one, the super big blue one that I have.
The extra large Red Grass Game.
Yeah. I like that one a lot if I'm going to be doing like a big project or like I'm going to be sitting for a while. I do prefer that one, but the Exemplar palette is great for travel. So if you are going to a convention anytime soon or this summer or whatever, I would definitely think about picking up the Exemplar palette. And I think this is also $25 as well.
So you're liking that better than Red Grass? But I mean, you kind of just talked about it's different, just different.
It's different. Yeah, it's different. If I'm like here or if I'm like hobbying at home or in one of the stores, I prefer the Red Grass. But this is easier to travel around with, and it's also just something that I've just been taking around. And there's very slight favoritism. It's not like a huge deal or anything. So, I'll do both. But this has been great to kind of slim down my hobby stuff because I can put my brushes in there. And I don't have to carry my separate brush holder around. So, other than that, I don't think I've like discovered anything like super new recently. So I'm sorry if we mentioned things that you already know of.
I'm trying to think. There's another digital thing I wanted to get excited. I was a little excited about mentioning. I don't remember.
Well, if you do remember, we'll
bring it up.
We'll go back to it. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Rudy.
But thank
always.
You, Rudy. Yeah.
And terrain's looking great.
Yeah.
We are always seeing that. We have a little we want to show other peeps here today, of course, when we get the fan stuff.
Yeah, we do have fan stuff. We do remember. But thank you for.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Rudy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have a couple more.
Oh, okay.
If you want to scroll down a little bit.
Here we go.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, let's make sure. Here we go.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think we're good.
We're good? Oh, there we go.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Scroll up a bit. Keep going. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Garrett. Hey, sorry, I'm super excited. I've spent the last 2 weeks getting ready to start live streaming 40K. I posted in the Discord. I hope you'll check it out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
That's exciting. We will check that out. Have fun. Good luck.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I was talking to other people about like streaming. They do video game stuff, and I assumed that they were going to do like tabletop things because they were painting.
Oh, I see.
But I think they talked about like maybe wanting to get into it as well too. So, yeah, no, I mean, I think the more people do it, just the broader the audience gets, and the broader the community gets in general.
Yeah, definitely.
I like. So yeah, good luck. Good luck, Garrett.
Good luck, Garrett. That sounds fun, and I will be sure to check it out on Discord, of course.
Yeah. Thank you, Mortifactors Miko. Hey, Zach Cat. Thank you again for your advice with terrain. Any for forest/woods in terms of practicality/playability? Magnets, size, amount of trees. Thank you.
Well, this is a great question. We have done a lot of different trees. So, Kat, you have one you like, and the one you like is the Sylvaneth Wildwood, right?
Yeah.
And the Sylvaneth Wildwood, which GW makes, is amazing, and we'll talk about why it's amazing. It has one big drawback, which you're not going to be surprised to hear, is price. I don't know how much you can get 3 woods for, but I mean the MSRP on that is $100. It's $50 per wood.
Per 3 trees.
For 3 trees.
Yeah, which is not great.
It's not great. Now it's an amazing kit, and like we're not surprised by this because we know GW stuff is pricey. But it is an amazing kit. I do think it's worth it. I have to say it is worth it. But is it practical? I guess maybe not, because it's very expensive, right?
Yeah.
So from that context, I would say, like, let's say you're not going to consider that price point practical. For four forests, that's $200, and 40K, that's maybe how much you would want, or 0, or 1. 4 is the most you would want.
At least 2, I would say, because you do want the board to be somewhat even. In a way,
exactly.
Right? Like if you have woods on one side, you don't want to like jam it over on that side.
In 40K, you could put 1 in the middle, and that could be a thing. But like Kat's right, that's not really super compelling as a middle piece.
Yeah.
In Sigmar, you want 2 or 4 most likely, or maybe 3 again if 1 is in the middle. So aside from that, I'm trying to kind of think. The Citadel Wildwood, in my opinion, both for 40K and Sigmar, is I would kind of say I view it as like what you're going for. Okay, so let's start with that in mind. It's sort of like what you're going for.
That's your goal.
That's your goal. You want to be able to replicate that in less expensive ways.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry, Kat. You want to be able to replicate that in less expensive ways. So, our very first Hobby Titans episode ever, which is on the Hobby Titans channel, Brett and I, no, actually it was Adrian and I. Adrian and I did an episode on trees. There's STL files listed there, and those STL files show how to, where we got those, where Brett got those from and printed them for us. And they are basically like these really nice, just 3D printed trees. I think the price on those came down closer to like $8 a tree.
Wow, for 3D printed stuff, yeah.
8 to 12.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but like remember, like $50 for the GW. Now, like you could get a forest for like $24, so it's like half price. They're probably not as great, but they're still pretty good. You also the thing I like about trees in games, I like to now make trees without bases, so that I can just build a ring of a forest. And the mat can be, the forest floor can be the same as the mat, which is kind of what I want. I love to use moss to supplement the ring, to like build the ring out and clearly define the ring. But I really don't like bases for my forest as much anymore. I don't dislike it, but they're just a little bit easier and more flexible without them, weirdly. I like bases for my ruins, as we talked about earlier today, not so much for my forests.
Yeah, and actually, their magnets kind of, I think, gives me like a little bit of like a deja vu feel of when we first sort of met. I was sort of introduced to your terrain first, then actually you. But
that's probably
sounds
about right.
Yeah, you had this this board, this like heavily pink foam board. Of all these different hills and stuff like that, but you had magnets where essentially the trees would then plop into things. Does that ring a bell?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't even like that anymore. I threw all that away. I hated it. But no, that's not true. Actually, I still do have some of that.
It was cool though, because it made, and we talked about this a lot, it made storage of that board
storage is big.
A lot simpler, right? Because all of the flat pink foam pieces could just be stacked on top of each other. All the trees could then go into their own box. And it wasn't like this pink foam board that had these trees on it now. So that was cool. But it was a thing where the magnets would break off.
Yeah, that's right.
The trees like kind of wobbled a little bit. Like it was cool. But
I'm not sure that that's the execution I would use anymore.
Right. I think you've.
I do magnetize my leaves. If I like the Citadel Wildwood kit, I magnetize all those leaves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just break off if you don't. Once they go in storage.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
they're just gone,
I keep having to glue
Yeah.
my branches back on.
So I magnetize all my leaves. I magnetize, and then the kind of cool thing, I'm almost reluctant to tell people this. I've said this before, and it hasn't, I think, been a problem. But there's this kind of funny thing where the old Citadel wood kit was also very cool and very popular, but people really hated the leaves. And so nobody used the leaves, and they all just sold them on eBay for like pennies. And I bought a ton one time. I think and people would friends would give them to me. And then I just magnetized those for all these 3D printed trees we did. Because the 3D printed trees didn't have leaves that came with them. They were like winter trees or whatever, right? Like,
well, yeah, you can glue flocking to them.
you can make it some other way, but I was
Yeah.
like, cool, I actually want this. I like these leaves, they just don't stay on. So yeah, I magnetized. So that I would magnetize, honestly, if you could. Totally recommend that.
Yeah, but as far as like price point goes, the moment you add magnets, it just
It gets back up there.
makes everything more expensive.
And-
so yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one thing I've really learned is about all these different alternatives to pricey GW terrain is like you save money. You can save money.
But it's not as much as you
It's not as
think
much as
it
you
is,
think, and
yeah.
it does require oftentimes more work than you might have imagined it was going to. And so, I'm often kind of in like I'm often sort of like kind of curious about the breaking point. I'm just like, was it worth that? Now, in the case of the trees we used, I also just really like the idea of having more than one type of tree. So I literally just also wanted,
different
trees, not just the GW tree, or not just specifically,
one look.
the one look. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Wildwood kit. It's sort of a pain to paint, but once it all comes together,
That's not actually what you think.
it's great.
You have a sorted love-hate relationship painting this thing, though.
Yeah, I would definitely paint the branches off of the tree. Do not glue the branches onto the tree. But then it just makes it seem like such a larger, more monumental task at that point. Because I think each tree has over 10 branches in it or something like that. But yeah, it's just a lot. So I love the kit. I love the way that it turns out. But it's work, right? But I think it looks really good. So there's that. If you're gonna do a whole forest board, then obviously have a ton of trees. But I agree with what you were saying, Zach, is like just have a variety as well too, because not all trees are gonna look the same in a forest. So
Variety is big. You do want a variety when you do forests. Okay, my blood cauldron is coming along here. I'm very excited for this. How are you doing?
there's a lot of spikes on this, dude. there's a lot of spikes. And because I'm painting them black, I'm trying to be very careful about not getting any of the rest of it covered in this color. So
Let's have a look.
oh gosh. Yeah, thankfully with the Mangler squigs, there's only one that has a bunch of spikes on him.
There's only one spike squig.
Yeah, the other guy has little ridges and stuff, but they're not spikes, so that's okay. So yeah, he's just got a lot. He's got a lot on him. It's like painting chaos trim.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. Oh my gosh. Well, I have to say I am very excited once again for BAO. If you guys are going, I will. You guys know where I'll be. I'll be at Sigmar. Bridger will be at Sigmar.
Yeah, aren't you? Isn't the Titan Studio going to have a meetup?
We are having a meetup. That is, you can find information for that in the
on
Discord.
the Discord. Yep.
Yeah, we're doing stuff for our Emperor members, but we're also doing kind of a general meetup for everybody that we're excited to meet people. And yeah, let us know. Reach out, please. Especially, so we know what you're doing and who of us can look for you. John and Adrian will be in 40K, big 40K, and Bridger and I will be in Sigmar, and Kat will be in the other hotel. But you'll just have to go to Game Castle booth and you can meet Kat. She'll be. Are you like literally? You're the only. There'll be other employees there for me.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course. I think I would die if I ran that booth by myself. Yeah. I could probably do it for like a little bit, but I would very easily become overwhelmed. It's great though. I love KublaCon, and I'm glad that it's happening again. And because it's a local show for us, we know a lot of people that are going to be there. So
correct me if I'm wrong. Did we not have, what was it? What was the other con that doesn't happen anymore? Gen Con? No, not Gen Con. We have that's Indiana. We had one here that happened a few years ago, up until a few years ago, and then for the first time it stopped happening. Do you remember?
And it was a tabletop convention?
Yeah. It was in September. Any Bay Area peeps in the chat know what I'm talking about. Not KublaCon, but there's another one. There were like two that used to happen.
The only other convention I know that happens in this area in September is Crunchyroll Expo, but that's anime. No.
It's not Crunchyroll Expo.
Yeah.
No, it was another GamerCon, and it. Where's Seth?
DunderCon.
DunderCon.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
But that happens still.
It still happens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they moved to February or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they used to be in Danville or something like that, but they moved to Santa Clara.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did it not happen the past few years, probably?
Well, yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah. Okay, but I thought I actually remember it also just like shutting down permanently.
There's a couple times where that's been like looming over its head.
They've threatened it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Celesticon is what Bryce and Seth are saying.
Celesticon is another one. That one is the one that shut down? Okay.
Yeah. Well, DunderCon I think happens in February now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Celesticon, that's right. I feel like I've been to some of these. I don't know which ones. I mean, I know I've been to BAO and KublaCon. I don't know that I've been to. I know one of these that I guess DunderCon or Celesticon I've been to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I should have assumed Bryce was in chat and would easily know this. There's a very Bryce thing to know. Okay, I'll zoom in here on me. You guys can see what I'm up to. Wrapping up the airbrushing here on the cart. As you can see, doing my pinks, doing my turquoises. Need to do some brush work. Kind of seeing how things look. Here is here's how he's going to go on there. Ooh, yay, very fun, very exciting. It goes on top. And then I have a couple witch elves and a slaughter queen that also go on this. And then checking out how they're going to look on the base. Oh yeah, I'm into it. It's going to look wild, I think.
Would this count as a vehicle?
I don't know. I don't think Sigmar has the war machine word.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think that this is even that cat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even a war machine. It's just a smashing. It's just a cart that psychotic witch elves ride.
So vehicle.
Yeah. I actually don't even know what propels this cart. There's nothing to propel it. Magic, I guess? We're going to say magic.
Okay.
Definitely saying magic. There's the cart.
Yeah, because what would the black coach count as?
That's like, yeah, I don't know. There's a war, like I said, there's a keyword for war machines in Sigmar. Mm-hmm. This one doesn't have it in the old or new book, but yeah. The black coach, I don't know if that does.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you again, Mortifactors Nico. Based on your advice, I was going to do 2 woods, maybe from Pink Phone Stalagmites to start. maybe with nails/screws in the bottom and a magnetic half.
So.
And a magnetic. Oh, I think it's 1 out of 2. I think we're waiting on another one. But
did we get this one?
yeah. Oh no, I missed that.
Well, that's okay. We'll
Yeah,
go back.
we'll go back to that. We'll go back to your thing, Kaldorf. Or actually, I think we'll go back to your thing, Mortifactor, when our mouse works again. So.
Mouse is good. Mouse is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kaldorf. Hey, Zach and Kat. I lost one of my out-of-print minis and purchased a replacement. Any tips on trying to match a style? The other minis weren't painted by me. Ooh.
What
That's a little hard. Yeah, is this one mini like a character? Because you can kind of do whatever you want with it a little bit, as long as you use similar colors.
Yeah, that's
but
maybe
if it's
wishful
like,
thinking.
If it's like an infantry unit, then obviously that gets a little bit more complicated. My thing is do something similar, but don't try and replicate.
This is what I would also 100% agree with.
Yeah. Use similar colors, do something similar, do not try to replicate, especially if you didn't paint it. There's a billion layers that go onto painting minis. Even if they told you the colors that they use, you don't like different colors on top of each other look different as well too. So it's just trying to match completely would be almost an impossible task, and I think you'd have a hard time with it. I guess that would just be my number one thing of like try and do something similar. Don't beat yourself over like trying to completely match something. Now, if you know the colors and or similar colors, that helps. But other than that, maybe kind of lean into the fact that it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't agree with Kat more on this. It'd be so hard, Caldor, to do that. It's not impossible. And like she said, if you have access to what it was, then pursue that. Otherwise, I don't know. Meg recently kind of had this happen to her in some ways. She, I guess this is a related story, but it's sort of an interesting approach that she had that I probably wouldn't have had, which is that she got some stuff from Frontline Gaming, like at SoCal. She got these Vargeist for her Soulblight Gravelord army, and they were painted not half bad. And she was kind of like, you know what? I'm just gonna base these. She's like,
okay.
Yeah, she's like, they're about like, I don't know if she said this, but I think they were probably about like, I don't know, maybe 75% as good as much work as she was doing on hers. And she was like, look, I can just base these and just like add them to my army, and that can be that. And I was like, you know what? I say go for it. Yeah,
my other suggestion. Yeah, I was gonna say base it the same.
That's big. Bigger than you think it's gonna be often, right? Like, kind of can surprise.
Yeah, and there's the other thing too of what we did with Adrian's models a couple weeks ago with his
with the Chaos Knights.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with then going back and adding to the already painted models to then have a match what you're doing with this one model as well too.
Yep.
Because that's what we did. We had a pretty much almost finished Warhound, and what we were doing was trying to replicate as much as possible what Adrian had already done, but we then took it a little too far with some of them, and so then went back and matched what he had already done.
Basically added to his. Yeah, it doesn't have to be let me put this on the table and see what I can do. It can be a back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Where you're kind of adding to both. That's a very good point. Kat, I also agree with that. It's easier that way. It seems like it's a little bit more work, and I guess in some ways it might be, but I don't know if I even agree with that myself right there. I think it's like ultimately going to be less work.
Yeah. It's less stress, I think,
For sure.
and which is essentially kind of what you're going for.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't try and perfectly replicate. Definitely like try and get as close as you possibly can. And then if you're like, oh well, this is looking very yellow, then I guess in comparison to the other models, then go back in and go into the other models and use what you already have to match everything together, because you're not trying to like repaint all of the other models.
Accidentally, oops, didn't mean to go that far.
Oops, painted a whole entire army. So that would be my tip. Try and make it look related. Don't try and match things, and then if you find that you went a little bit too far in one direction, then do a little bit extra to all of the other models. So I hope that helps, but yeah.
Our best advice on trying to match things exactly, definitely don't try to match things exactly. Which I think is fair. I stand by it.
Yeah, I do too. So.
Okay, let's see. What is going on here with Mortifactos and Picos? Let's see. Okay, there they both are. We got them. Okay, here we go.
Maybe with nails/screws in the bottom and a magnetic sheet footprint. Thoughts? How many? How big? Is a footprint necessary? Thanks again for everything. I'll post some pics of my ruins in the Discord.
I'm sorry, Kat, are you operating under the assumption that I totally remembered message 1 right now?
All right.
Because I'm just like...
based on your advice, I was going to do 2
ramblings of a
woods.
madman.
I was going to do 2 woods made from pink foam stalagmites to start. Maybe with nails/screws in the bottom and a magnetic sheet footprint. Thoughts? How many? How big? Is a footprint necessary? Thanks again for everything. Post some pics of my ruins, and I'll post some pics of my ruins in the Discord.
I really will just tell you personally that I'm about to make a display board for this army, and I'm not going to do magnetic sheets on it. I don't want to work with that. I'll be honest. Magnetic sheets on trees like that.
So,
What are you thinking? What do you think?
My thing is if it's flat, I don't like it. Because we at the stores, we have a bunch of different trees because they've all been made at different times with different materials and whatever. We have trees that have a footprint. They're not magnetic, but like that's what it is. Of like, there's a footprint of the trees. You throw this disc down, and then you put the trees on top of it. I don't like it.
So she's just saying no footprint.
Yeah.
Which is what I had said as well, because of we like the Citadel wood, right?
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no footprint.
Or very minimal footprint, right? If you're worried about your trees toppling over or whatever, then don't cut out a big giant footprint for all of them. Cut out one for each tree, and then taper that down into the board. That would be my thing. I don't like when I can see like each and every single material that went into something. And this was actually like similar to advice that I gave on the Discord, I think this weekend, of like how to hide your tufts, and like tuck texture up against them. So that way you don't go, that's a tuft, and like that's the shape of that one tuft. So that's my only thing, is that I just don't like footprints for trees.
I not only do not like footprints for trees, Miko, I absolutely would never, just personally, I just stay away from magnetic sheets. Pretty aggressively. Why? I don't know. It's more kind of hobby work than I really want to get myself into. Yeah. Honestly, is I guess how I would phrase it. If you feel really comfortable and feel like you can easily work with metal and these sheets and everything, then go for it. But for me, it's just a material that I'm not wanting to work with. I work with a lot of materials, pink foam, plastic stuff. I just like,
Yeah, my only thing is that because metal is like so hard, it tends to scratch everything else around it. Like no matter what paint you put on it, no matter what, it's going to, everything that you put on top of it, everything that you put around it is going to wear away even faster. So that's my thing with metal sheets.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I don't know if I have a good reason why I'm so against it. But I do stand by what Kat is saying and what we said earlier, which is that I don't like the footprints on trees. So
woods, I guess.
On woods, sorry, yeah, I don't like footprints. But let's say that you really want to do footprints, then I think magnetic is interesting. I mean, I did do that, like Kat was saying, and I had varying degrees of success. What you're saying would solve the problems that mine had, because mine sometimes the magnet that was in the wooden base would pop off. And yeah, it's a thing. Metal sheets, I think it will solve that. Metal also, like, I don't know how you feel about this, Kat, but like, I don't really like working with metal as like something I'm gonna paint and then like texture. It's not like the base that I want.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I want pink foam, or I want maybe MDF, or I want plastic. And MDF, by the way, I'm also not in love with. But metal especially is just like this material that like I don't want to be painting it. It takes paint very flat, like flatter than you think it's going to, right? Whenever you like paint over metal, I'm always just like, God, this paint, what is up? Like it just never seems to. I don't know if I'm over exaggerating maybe, but like I never seem to like how paint goes on metal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that or if I'm kind of crazy, but
no, I think that's a fair statement.
Something's up with it anyway. At the very least, I'll say that. So that said, I think your idea could work, and I'm sure you could do it in a way that I'm like totally wrong about all this, because I just haven't done it too much, and when I have done it, I haven't liked it. I haven't really, unlike pink foam, I have not done a deep dive in how to make this work. Right? Anyone can do that with anything, and when you do that, you're probably going to find that you can make something work for you. Is what I find.
Right.
I just don't like the metal sheets. Okay, now, sorry, the second part, I know that we already read it, but there's something else in the second part I wanted to address that he said. It's so bad, I'm like making Kat read like these things.
That's okay.
It's just like my nurse. Please read that one for me.
Nails or screws in the bottom and a magnetic sheet footprint. Thoughts? How big is a footprint necessary?
Yeah. Well, of course, you have our answer on is a footprint necessary. We think no.
We think no. I don't think the footprint's necessary. Now, what I want to know is like, why do you want them to be magnetic? I guess that would be my thing, right? Because if you're like, no, I want them to be magnetic, then I think that would skew our advice into like, okay, let's make that magnetic thing work.
Yeah.
Because I think we both fall under like, let's make this terrain as modular as possible, and like essentially don't have the same setup each and every single time you put it together.
Yeah, and also like minimize how it can break in a storage bin.
Right. So
because okay, this is what I'll say about metal. Like one of the things I want to tell you to do with metal is like get some AK texture, go over top of it. Make sure it's not too much. You'll be fine with that. Just don't go too crazy. But like stuff then doesn't stay well on metal often. So like now like you have this metal plate. Like we've all seen it. Like everybody's seen terrain in like a store or something that somebody made with metal, and you can see like the metal parts of it because like the paint chipped, because the paint isn't necessarily amazing at going on metal. Of course, there is paint that's designed to go on metal, but like I'd question how big the line is. Is it going to be? Are you going to be really happy with that paint? Is it going to, like...
Well, you can always paint on top of that paint. So,
you can prime and then paint on top, right?
Yeah,
but I always feel like it still, like, kind of chips off, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally.
I wouldn't use screws in the bottom of the stalagmites or in the pink foam.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Especially if you're going to magnetize things, because...
Not in pink foam.
Yeah, my only thing is that... when you're trying to take the trees off, even if it's not a super strong metal, it's still pulling on that screw, and that's just a way to like eventually just be like, okay, well, I don't have a screw in the bottom of my pink foam stuff.
You're like designing an area where it's going to break over time.
Yeah. So there's that. If you want it to be magnetic, I would go for a plastic footprint rather than pink foam. And even if you're going to put the plastic like in the bottom of the pink foam or the pink foam into the plastic, it's just a much sturdier thing rather than pink foam metal magnet. There's that. I don't think the footprint is necessary. I think we both personally just don't like the aesthetic of it. How many trees in like a woods? It's up to you how big the trees are. The wild woods I know are 3 trees.
Yeah, I like 3 to 5.
Yeah, an uneven amount, right?
And I like to change it up if I can. I don't like them all to, like, I think what Kat's saying, I don't like them all to be 3, right?
Yeah. 3 to 5 would be good. 3 to 5 trees, have some stumps in there.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do. My thing is that like, maybe don't do a footprint, maybe do like a template of like
can I
like a plastic ring or something of like, okay, well, I'm going to put this down, I'm going to put my trees in there, and I'm going to take the ring up and like, those are woods, right?
So
that's a good way of clumping it.
This is a great idea. Now, I was going to actually suggest something on the opposite, but it's 2 different ways to go. Kat's saying like, do something where you can you can define the boundary, you're saying, without it like affecting gameplay or like visual too much. Do I have that right?
Yeah, without it taking you out of the narrative.
So what would you use for that? Like a what would you do?
Yeah, I would, to me, when I'm clumping together trees and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, like that's what it is, right?
Right.
You can do something like that where it's just, you just have trees that are clumped together, and like the start of those trees, the perimeters of those trees, that's what it is. I know you like to use the little like the moss stuff.
Yeah.
And build the ring out of that. My only thing is that it's great in like personal game settings, but in a store,
not in a store.
In a store setting,
moss
it doesn't.
Is best avoided in a store.
Yeah, in a store, it's not great. It breaks apart. It falls off the table. You lose pieces.
Because my moss is all over. You guys are probably swooping my moss up all the time.
Yes. So, yeah, that's my only thing.
I'm not super happy about that.
And
by the way,
just
either.
sprinkling it on the table, right? Like if you glue it to a thing, that's totally fine. Like, and if you want to glue moss to the base of these trees, almost in like a way that the wildwood bases are kind of like, that's totally fine, right? The wildwood bases, they're footprintless, but they still have
they have a defining. They use the roots in this clever way. Now, this is what I was going to say. I was going to say, alternatively, I'll be honest about a footprint. One of the problems I don't like is like, okay, you've got this green board, this cool mat with this design. One of these companies a lot of these companies are making just very cool mats nowadays. And you have put on your green flocked thing, and it's like cool, like doesn't quite match the rest of the board, right? In terms of like suddenly being like solid green grass in the forest. Right. But I do think if you have that type of situation, there are ways you lean into it. Again, like you have to lean into what you're doing. So if you are, for example, you do want a footprint, I think it's cool if you like make it like a little bit elevated, make your forest a little bit elevated, make it like rocky, and almost make like a rock area, and like then put trees in.
Hill or
like,
something.
Yeah, like something that like meat should be sticking out, if that makes sense. I think can be compelling.
Yeah. So hopefully this helps you out. I know we gave you like a ton of suggestions, and sometimes it's a little hard when you get like inundated with advice, but I hope that helps you a little bit. I think Zach and I very much agree on like we go for more realistic aesthetic than pure what's good for gameplay. So, but we do try to like marry the two, right? We do want our boards and our tables and our terrain to be played with. And when you go too much into this looks really cool, sometimes, no one wants to play with it.
Yeah, I work in an environment where I kind of get yelled at if I don't make it good for gameplay. So
Yeah.
I have to make it good for gameplay. But I like the challenge of trying to, as you say, marry the two, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge in a creative process, because I think it's just if you have to adjust for something right away, it just makes it stronger in the end.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he's saying, I just thought the footprint might be necessary, and that's why I thought a magnetic sheet for the base with nails in the base of the trees. But if no footprint, no problem. I'm more worried about how many trees per wood, how big each tree should be.
Well, definitely a difference in size. Like if they're all the same size, it looks a little funky, especially beyond 3. Now, like the Citadel Wildwood, they're pretty close to the same size. It works.
Yeah, they're all the same height now, but like how bushy they are depends on what tree trunk you're dealing with.
And you can also build them a little differently.
Yeah.
The trunk, the leaves are different, right?
So as far as like height goes, I would take like a one of your models, right, or even just a bottle of paint, because this is probably the size of a mini. It's a little bit taller. And then hold the tree up to it, or hold like the base of your stalagmite up to it, and what looks realistic, right? Maybe like this entire length.
Listen to Kat, this serious hobbyist first, who's like, oh, Mortifactor Miko might not have a mini laying around. Of course he does. He's a million. Just grab a guardsman, or Kat's like, you know what I've got laying around all the time?
I got paint bottles. I got paint bottles. I got this dropper top. Honestly, I think like this threaded part is probably the height of one. But yeah, and then also make sure that the thickness of all these trees is different. The thicker the tree, probably the bigger it is. Yeah. The other thing is, if you're dead set on making like scrap building these trees, then the more variety that you do, the better. There's also other trees that you can buy from like train stores and stuff like that make for really good trees. There's these trees that I know everyone uses. The first time like making my terrain is they're like Christmas decor that you can get at hobby stores or whatever, and they're these little like almost pipe cleaner looking pine trees. And they're roughly like the right size that you want to get. I find them to be a little bit too skinny, but the height is good. So like they're about, maybe like 7 or 8 inches. And then just make a variety, but like stick within that, thing, right? If it's going to be smaller, it's a little baby tree.
Yeah.
Or if you want it to be shorter, then maybe it's like a tree trunk that's snapped in half or something. So you can do stuff like that. But yeah. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. We are listen, we don't like to say we're experts. We like to keep it humble, but I think if there's one thing we feel like we might be experts on, it's trees.
It's trees. I thought you were just going to say just straight terrain, but yeah, no. I think
No, I'm not even going to go that far, but I think trees, I feel confident.
We have a variety of trees.
I think we probably have a decade of trees-based experience between the two of us.
Yeah.
Maybe probably more.
Yeah. So we got lots of trees, lots of different trees as well too, which I think is the more important thing. And I saw on the Discord that someone was painting up some of the wildwood stuff, and they're pink and it's cute and I love it. But the wildwood trees are great. You can paint them different ways. You don't get a whole lot of variety in the sculpt, but you do get a lot of freedom in how you paint them. And so
they're great. And I know we all rag on GW for their prices, but when you make terrain and you start trying other materials and seeing what you can get away with, you end up kind of being like, you know what? Not sure compared to the GW price, it's worth it. I often find, unless you are like super into the process and a little bit less into the outcome, or you're not on a huge deadline, and it's just something you're cool with, like just coming back and kind of nursing over a few months or 6 months or a year. I find you don't often. It's just not worth it. We all value our own time and time differently, but like, oh man, I don't know. Working with resin and just, I don't know. Some of the stuff can just, not 3D printed resin, but I don't know. The cheaper you go, often there's consequences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. I don't like working with clay. How about you? I'm not a big clay person. Like, I've never enjoyed any kind of like clay-based products or anything like that I've made. I'm always a little bit let down by them.
I like clay.
You do?
I like clay.
Okay. Maybe I'm not using the right type of clay.
That's fair.
Because there's a million types of clay, right?
Yeah. I don't like air dry clay.
Yeah, I've used air dry clay. I do not like it.
Yeah, but it's great if you're trying to get like a shape of something and then you don't mind it like breaking apart later on. That's totally fine. That's kind of what I use air dry clay for. It's just like a temporary thing. It's not something that I'm going to permanently
I see.
make something out of. But I do like clay. I find it easy to work with. But that's also like a lot of like when I would take art classes and stuff. Sculpting.
A little more kind of hands-on into it than I have. Now, would you say about clay? Would you say, all right? One thing here's something I'll ask you if you've used. Excuse me. Have you used lightweight hydrocal? I've used that Woodland Scenics lightweight hydrocal.
I haven't, but
I know Seth has used it.
Seth has used it a lot. Yes. It's got its uses. I know he was having some complications with mixing the ratios of it, but also he doesn't read instructions.
Oh, Seth Byrne.
But what he used it for, and he taught a class at Adepticon, was he made these castings of this like statue head, and then he taught a class on erosion and how to tell the passage of time and stuff. And so what that was great for was that they were then able to like chip pieces off of the statue, break it in half in some places, right? And you get this really realistic weathering effect with it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
It also dries super fast too.
Hydrocal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it dries faster than you think it's going to. And it depends, but it's never really that firm. It's always easy to break.
Yes, yeah, you can just snap things. If it's like super thin, you can just snap it in half. But that's a usable property of it, I find. That it's breakable, right? The thing that I don't like about air dry clay is that it cracks while it's drying, and I don't want it to do that.
There's not a lot you can do.
I want it to crack when I want it to crack.
Right.
Yeah. But have you used it?
Air dry clay?
No, the hydrocal stuff.
How have I used it?
Yeah.
So when I first started making terrain, I wanted to make towel train because I was very into towel. It was my first army. I was like, I want to make some towel train. And so what I did is I got these mushroom containers from the grocery store, and I first started by pouring hydrocal into the container and then letting it firm up.
Yep.
And I learned that way that the plastic kind of containers were not good for that because it would adhere to it basically.
Yeah.
But the styrofoam ones were good.
Okay.
But I did get the plastic ones to work. I forget how I did it. Honestly.
You can use mold release and you can, coat it in different things.
This was like 2000, oh my God, 8, maybe 9. I was like probably living in rural Pennsylvania.
You can get mold release.
Yeah, I think I just did like the most Italian American thing imaginable and used olive oil.
Okay.
So I used olive. I think
or the Pam spray should work.
No,
I don't know how that would
have that in my house, so no. But
okay.
I think it was probably, I'm gonna guess olive oil was what I would have had. Maybe canola. I don't know, some kind of food-based oil. I think because I did get the plastic ones to work because there's a very distinct mushroom container that still exists that I see all the time. And I remember when I had towel built shaped like that. What I then later did is I actually made molds of those and then did resin. I made silicone molds of the mushroom.
Nice.
And made silicone of these towel buildings. It's kind of ridiculous actually. the things we do in our early days.
Yeah. I've used like quickset resin, stuff like that. The thing that I find is I think I'm allergic to it.
To quickset resin?
To quickset resin, to just resin in general. I find that it gives me hives, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Like really bad too. Like
hives. You heard it here first, folks.
Not fun.
Not fun.
Not fun. I think we got a couple more from Mortifactor's Miko. Again.
Hey, Miko.
Can you move the mouse like up a little bit? There you go. Now thinking.
Wait, 1 sec. Sorry, just looking for. Okay. Sorry.
Now thinking a ring of rocks, almost like a crater for the perimeter, then tall rocks, not unlike Zach's hoodoos. My board is like a deep gray, green, blue.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you so much, guys. I feel really good about what I will do now. The amount of thought you put in is amazing, and I really appreciate how in depth you go.
I don't think we know how to do it any other way. I think we're like actually literally talking to each other, honestly. Like
just like bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah. Because we like building terrain. I'm not even sure. Like,
ooh, yes. Yeah, how would you build this?
Yeah. And also, like, Kat and I haven't really worked directly together on projects a lot. Mm-hmm. So we're almost kind of like interested, and like I know I don't know a lot of stuff she knows. I think the only thing I probably know more than her about is maybe pink foam, but otherwise I'm always kind of like wondering how she would work with some material that I'm like really not familiar with. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to hear these thoughts, these musings.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done a lot. I've done a lot of experimenting. It's also a thing of like, I usually find that I have a general idea of like how things are going to go as well too. So yeah, but a lot of store terrain has been repaired and or built by both Seth and I. So
yeah. You know, our good friend Seth, and then for Kat and we both also were in these weird positions where we were doing this all the time. Mm-hmm. Her, because she was
a manager of a game store, yeah.
Of a game store, of like a very, of like Mountain View, really, right?
Yep.
Which was like a big thing, right? Like everybody still is sad about Mountain View closing.
I'm still very sad.
Everyone's sad about Mountain View.
I think everyone is sad about Mountain View closing, yeah.
So... But it was a store where there was like a lot of stuff. And then I was just running this club that had this as like a crazy requirement, was how nice the boards looked.
And the tables in general, right? You had to have fully painted armies
everything
and
had
everything
to be fully
like
painted.
that.
And yeah. So it was a thing that her and I just did a lot of. And frankly, at that time, which was... I don't know, 6-7 years ago, starting, 2015, I had a gig, I had a job where I worked, I was working in the evenings, I mean, kind of like I am now, but I had a job that just wasn't very, like, I didn't need to do anything for it, like, it wasn't very engaging. So Meg would go to work, and I'd be like, what am I going to do? And I'd have, like, 10 hours before I had to leave and go teach kids for, like, 4 hours. Mm-hmm. So I'd be like, okay, well, I guess I just like would make terrain all day. So I had the space in my life to do it. Actually, probably didn't always have the physical space in my life to do it.
Yeah, and then your club had like a huge cage in the back of the store where you guys stored terrain and stuff. So
yeah, we were super lucky in that Ray from Game Castle, right? Mm-hmm. Let us have this locker when you guys opened in 2015. Or 2016 or 15, I can't remember exactly. We were really lucky. We bought, we pooled all the club, a bunch of us pooled money together, and we bought like a cage, which was, kind of in hindsight, almost absolutely unnecessary. The cage was almost like, how much do we not trust Game Castle employees? and that's not what we were thinking. But that's sort of what I always thought it looked like.
No.
I went in the back and there was a cage, and you guys had a key, so it's not like...
Yeah, we anytime any club wanted to like store stuff or whatever, we had to be able to have access to it, you know, just for liability reasons.
Right,
but I always thought it was like how much do we not trust like anybody else? Because it was right next to one of the bathrooms as well too.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah,
you could go
people
back
would pass by it.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, it was cool though. He had a ton of terrain, and like they were all like set tables, and it was all very much this is how you set this table up. And I've noticed that you've definitely have like veered very far away from like this is how you set this table up and this is how you're going to set it up every time kind of thing.
Really? Wait.
At least that's what I found with like the magnetized trees on the board, right? You couldn't really move a whole lot of it, but you did always have the loose moss.
I see.
Things were sort of modular in a way, but you know, it was like this terrain went with this table, this mat went with this table.
But I still do that. We do that here at Titans. I mean, all of the terrain you're talking about is just now like the next like
here.
It's just like 2 rooms over here at the studio. That's what we use all the time. Yeah. And I'm like, if like Adrian or somebody pulls out like a mat that I don't imagine going with my terrain, well, Adrian I almost always trust, so it's usually fine. But you know, I'm kind of like, sometimes people, I'm like, wait, does that mat go with that? It's like a thing I'm thinking a lot. Look, I think I may have casually just finished a blood cauldron.
Nice. I think we should go over fan stuff.
We should go over fan stuff.
While I remember.
Let's go over fan stuff. Let's do fan stuff. Let's do fan stuff. Everybody, let's do some fan stuff. Here we go. Okay, let's do it. Oh man, Tyranid Warrior, a classic.
Do you need to go over to
No, I can see.
Okay.
I'm just going to have to squint.
Okay. Yeah, I thought this way was cool. There's a bunch of different angles of them, but I really liked the swords, which is like the thing that jumped out to me. And they're like either like really rusted out or they're just straight red.
They're probably should be straight red. So Tyranid would have like it's all bio.
Oh, okay.
Generate. There's like no metal.
Oh,
so
okay.
This would be like the actual color.
Well, what are his hands made out of then? Because that looks like metal.
So maybe I do need to go over to the thing. Because you might be right. Let's see. Okay, maybe I'll go over here. I'll go over here.
Is this like another kit bash thing?
Maybe it's a kit bash. Oh yeah, this is totally a kit bash.
Okay.
So my bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
is cool. It was a cool kit bash. I didn't know it was a kit bash. Obviously, I don't know a whole lot about 40K, but I really like the swords, and that's what jumped out to me a lot. So, yeah. Yeah,
super cool. This is looking cool.
Yeah. There's a couple pictures of this as well too, of different like angles and stuff. But I always really appreciate when people build terrain, and this was speaking of terrain that goes with a mat, right?
This is very thematic in a very low key way. I will say, listen, I know you guys are gonna think I'm being silly, but a little bit of moss, right? I'd get like a tan. I'd go to Teresa's Plants LTC. Yeah, I think I would do tan. What do you think? You do green?
I don't know if I'd do moss. I'd maybe like some rocks or something.
Oh, I think both. I think you just got to do both.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the barren aspect of this, so I don't know if I would actually add any plant life to it at all.
I see. You know what? That's fair. And I have boards. The Martian board I have, I distinctively have no moss or anything, for the same reason, right? It's like it's like a statement. No plants. Okay, I like it. Go one way or the other, though. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so this is Rudy. And Rudy is working with some crazy tufts. And Rudy did point out, Kat, you and I were incorrect a little bit, or at least I was, that the gamer grass, they don't actually make a lot of different sizes of their
alien.
Of the alien line, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Makes sense.
They don't make different heights, mostly just because I think it's just a completely different color. I don't know if they even have like loose grass that's different heights of that color as well. So I think that would be the issue with that. So yeah, when it comes to the alien grass, it's a little bit different. But I like how Rudy, it's definitely like an alien thing, but to me the rocks look oil slicked, which I thought was really cool. but it matches all the colors of the alien tufts and stuff. And Rudy, we definitely appreciate you putting your name on it as well too.
Yeah.
That was super helpful. But again, there's a bunch of pictures of different terrain that Rudy's made as well too, not just these pink foam rocks.
Rudy, you know what you should try? I'll toss this out. This is not something I'm saying to do to this rock, but if you're making more of these alien rocks, the purple board we use here sometimes on Titans, kind of right at the end, I was like, oh, I thought it needed something more, and I took a Turbo Dork. I think I took blue raspberry, and I just sprayed it around the bottom of it, and that's a great application of Turbo Dork.
Okay.
So like even with this one, you don't need to do this, but if you want to try something, you could take Motherlode, the iridescent one, the Mother of Pearl one, and you could just like airbrush it around the bottom, and it's gonna give it like this kind of more like iridescent
sort of glow-ish.
glow.
Yeah.
Glow is a good word for it. It's not exactly a glow, right? Like in a way, that's not the word we want to use. But Kat's also, I think, using the best word I can think of, right? Which is like a glow, a shimmer, or shine.
Yeah, because I felt like that's what the orange does to this. Like it almost looks like the light is reflecting off of the rocks.
I think so too.
I thought that was really cool. So yeah, good job.
Super cool. Oh, this looks great.
Again, bunch of different pictures of this one, and I was almost sad that I had to pick this one, but this is the one that really shows off what the model is. But the rest of the model actually is filled with a bunch of like graffiti and stuff, which I thought was really cute. But yeah, this was nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm really into the orc vehicles though. Like speaking of the Kit Bash Kings, right?
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of different
orc vehicles
things.
Are super cool in 40K, yeah.
Yeah, mushed together. It's like they take like broken down tanks and then make them into their own
Adrian's
thing.
made some crazy ones with like kits I wouldn't even think to, right? Like orc players are just so good at this.
Yeah, Kit Bash King. There you go, Adrian, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm almost sad that I had to pick this picture because there's a bunch of different ones. But yeah, definitely go check this out because there's a lot of like, I think cool sort of lore graffiti-ish, I don't know, all over it. At first I thought it was the person's name, but it's not, so yeah.
Oh wow, this is cool.
I think I'm glad you're sitting over there and
Yeah.
you can actually see it on that monitor because when I was first looking at this picture, I didn't notice the different colors on the black. I thought it was just black, but it's a bunch of different.
It's like blue. It's like dark blue. It's almost what we were talking about last week with like what does fluorescent look good with?
Yeah.
And I think it also looks like good with like dark gray, or like medium kind of grays, medium dark kind of blues and grays, greens, and like
Yeah, and honestly, this thought just came to my mind, and I hope you really don't take it the wrong way. But when it comes to like fluorescence with like dark backgrounds and stuff, it very much reminds me of the Toy Story ride in Disneyland, where it's like super dark, but everything is glowing, but it's glowing because of like black light on fluorescent paint. And that's kind of what this looks like in a way. And I think that fits the Tyranid look of like, what would a Tyranid look like if you like shined a black light on it? I think it would glow.
Yeah, super cool. Ooh, Lumineth. Lumineth armies just always look like crazy, amazing good. I've said this over and over again. Like, if this is an army you can paint well, then you'll like you should show up at like a 60-some person Sigmar event and expect to be talked about for best painted. Like, it just simply looks incredible.
They're pretty. They're very
so
pretty.
They're so pretty.
Yeah.
It's like a good painted, and this one looks great. A good painted Lumineth army is like just something else.
Yeah, Lumineth is actually one of the armies that I was debating on. Do I want to do Gloomspite and go weird with it, or do I want to go pretty? And I obviously picked Gloomspite, but
you picked Gloomspite for now.
For now,
but
yes.
There's
always
two.
Skaven. There's always Lumineth. Yeah, I really like the kangaroo looking dudes.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Those are really cool.
Wind Chargers. Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, and you know. It's an army that has some other really cool stuff like the mountain spirits, the suit of armor. I always forget what it's called. That's alive and fighting. It's incredible. Yeah, it's such a beautiful line. Very nice work on that too. Ooh, nice Thousand Sun.
I like the bright colors on this one.
Yeah, this is Ahriman. Yeah, I think this is Ahriman. Yeah, it looks cool. I like this this color combo: gold, teal, purple.
Oh no, the headdress reminds me. I wish I remembered her name, but the villain from Power Rangers. Did you ever watch Power Rangers?
A little bit.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
We literally talked about this yesterday with Megan. I forget. Rita
I
something?
forgot. Yeah. Oh god, I forgot. But yeah.
I forget. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just like the bright colors on this one. This was I like the bright blue next to the navy blue and the gold and everything. So,
I like the
yeah.
orange also.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Peeking out a little contrast. Oh, this is so cool. This is so good.
Yeah.
I saw you kind of go by this quick, and I didn't really get a good look at it. You said you know this person, right?
I do. This is Clay, which immediately when I saw it, I was like, I know this. I've seen this before. Like Clay is a good friend, and I was honestly really surprised to come across his stuff in the Discord. So yeah, I was like, is someone like using this? Is like, oh, someone knows Clay. But yeah, no, this is really cool. He is actually one of the instructors at the Las Vegas Open, and I believe he also teaches at Adepticon as well too. But yeah, he is super good painter. Definitely check out his stuff.
M3 Studios. Yeah, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I'm a big fan of blue, white, and yellow together.
Yeah, it looked to me like the chaos symbol was almost like branded into the model.
Yes.
Which, yeah, I liked a lot. That was really cool.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, there's a couple different pictures of it.
Oh, digital designer. We know this guy.
Yeah, but I really like the bike a lot. What? That's a bike, right?
Yeah,
that would be considered a bike. Okay.
A Dawn Rider, Dawn Sky. I forget the name of the Custodes bikes, but it's Custodes. I like the red Custodes a lot. I love this paint scheme for Custodes because it's just not what you see. Most people are attracted to this army because they can paint a lot of gold. But this is super cool. This is incredible. I love this paint scheme.
Yeah, this is really well done. I like the bike a lot. I think it's also might just be a thing of like I'm really itching to paint a vehicle, so I'm waiting for one to come out, and I think that's going to be the thing that I sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you'll see that soon.
This is super cool. Yeah, I want to see Cat paint a vehicle. Well, these are so cool. These are Necromunda, I think. Dalekue or whatever they're called, these creepy guys. Yeah, this looks super cool. This is also one of my favorite ways to take pictures. I love taking pictures with like the tiles and stuff that come in some of the GW boxes.
Yeah.
As the background like this. People do this. I've done this with my Thousand Suns for Horus Heresy, and I think it makes good pictures.
Yeah. Well, speaking of blue and orange,
yeah.
I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these models are really cool too.
These are like normally very dark kind of colored. They're like in these black trench coats, but I just like the way that they're like not that dark.
Rita
Repulsa, yeah.
Oh, thank you, digital designer.
Yeah, digital designer is the one who did that thing just like that.
Yeah. The bike, yeah.
Yeah, Kat and I love bright colored models, and I don't know, these guys look terrifying and scary.
Yeah.
Without being all mopey and matrixy.
Yeah, I like the poses of them too. I think that's really cool. It also sucks that they're Necromunda models because it's like it's a niche game.
It's a little niche, yeah. Oh, cool, Nighthaunt.
This one was really cool.
This is very cool.
I liked it a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, the model almost blends in with the background, but I think it helps the picture.
I kind of like it.
And it makes the eyes like and the little bits of green that are on it stand out that much more.
It looks like they did their glow, I think, Cat with like a white and then like a Citadel wash through an airbrush over top of it. What do you think? Curling green shade?
I'd have to see it closer.
Yeah. Closer and not on that TV?
Not on this TV, yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looked really cool. I liked it a lot. This was really well done. So, great job.
Another knight. Super cool.
Yeah.
Grody. Good Nurgle knight. Good Nurgle knight without being too nurgly. Mm-hmm. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with being too nurgly, but I kind of like to see something not too nurgly, but still nurgly. little nurgly.
Yeah, I like the weathering on this one.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Fair.
Yeah, this is nice.
The weathering was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I also want to know what that thing in the background is. The little
so
hut
this
thing.
is a new.
Yeah.
This is a that's a Necromunda terrain that's come out. It's called it's from Ash Waste, the Ash Waste box set. It's like these that's what they are. They're almost like tents, kind of like elevated, and there's like walkways that go all around.
Because it just looks like something from Star Wars.
Yeah,
and I
it
want
does. It does look really cool. Yeah, well, I'll show you the kit after the show.
Okay.
It looks really cool. Yeah. Oh, look at this! A sermon, old school 1990s. A sermon painted.
Now, again, there was a bunch of different pictures of it, and unfortunately, from this angle, you can't see, but. They added the pink glow to the hat or the helmet as well too on the back, which I thought was a really nice attention to detail. But this just shows off the rest of the model. I didn't want to be like, here's the back of this model. So yeah, but this is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool. This model is, as you know, I'm never a fan of these old models, but I do appreciate when people paint them up and kind of paint them up in the 90s style.
Yeah, the old school.
Yeah, it looks
stuff,
super cool. Awesome. Great fan stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, should I...
yeah, I think you should
Should I destroy the glam cam?
Yes.
Right before using it?
We set it up and then didn't touch it, so I think we should touch it.
Yeah, let's touch it. Let me
let's fix it.
Let's fix it. Let me get it lined up
not
here.
trip over it. That'd be great. But yeah, let's show off your chariot.
Look at this.
Oh, that guy goes on top of it?
Yeah, he goes there.
Okay.
And these ladies ride on the stairs. For some murdering. Just for some light murdering. Here we go. What else do I... Oh, I guess I need to do a varnish. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to varnish. False alarm, folks.
Okay.
Sorry, things just look better when they're varnished. Oh, they've been varnished. Ooh, I shouldn't have glued them yet. Because I want to do a gloss varnish. Okay, I can aim. That's why we have Sotars.
Fair. But yeah, nice job, everybody.
Nice fan stuff. Really nice fan stuff.
It was really cool. It was also really cool seeing someone that I know on it as well too. Did we get your Kronspine pics? Did you send it directly to somebody, Bryce? Because I don't think I saw a Kronspine when I was scrolling through stuff.
Bryce, I've seen pictures of your crown spine. It looks amazing. But, yeah, if it wasn't in the fan stuff, I don't know, Bryce. Sorry. Oh, wait, there's still one more thing to do. I'm a liar. I have to do fire. Sorry.
You have to do
Well,
what?
you know, I can do it off stream. They have little torches on this cart that I need to do a glow on. But that's okay. I'll do it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one other thing I want to do, but I'll also do it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Kat's like, yeah.
Well, it's just I think we're running a little long.
Yeah, we are. I didn't realize.
Oh, you sent them to Zach. Okay.
Yeah, he texted me them. They look amazing. Yeah, we should get them on. But put them in this. Bryce, come on. You know how my brain works. Not just me, but everybody. Like, I'm never gonna like look at my texts to be like, oh wait, any cool fan stuff that was texted to me. This.
Well, also I picked them out. So.
Also it was a cat.
And yeah, I've been picking them out for the past couple weeks. So.
Okay.
Send them to me.
No, don't. Just put them in fan stuff. We want to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce did a crown spine to match his Skaven, like the Warflame stuff.
Right, you did a green one. I saw the work in progress picture of it.
Yeah, we did see that.
It was green. But that I think you posted that a little while ago. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there actually are a couple steps left to do on this thing. I'll kind of point them out to you guys, but I think we will call it here for the stream. Let's go on to Glam Cam. Not the best view.
Oh no.
This thing is going to be like one of those models that you always are like, something is catching it and like snapping something off.
Because it's so spiky. I think you need to move the camera over a little bit.
My vision, I can't like tell. Everything looks blurry.
Here, I'll do.
Okay.
I think you're okay. It's good enough.
Okay, here we go. So a couple things left to do. I'll kind of talk through these. So you guys, so there's some flames down there that I need to finish. I actually think I'm going to do them blue. I don't think I'm going to do a normal fire color. I think I want it blue fire. I don't know. That's my plan. That's what I'm thinking right now. There's also these little, cat, sorry.
Yeah, no. You're good.
Okay, there's also these little like chain things that hang down off of the staircase on the outside, because you can see it's kind of like a big flat area there. So they give you these like little chains. I'm going to do those browns and have those hanging down. And then the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Ghost Tint Fresh Blood, and on the blades on the front, just do a little bit of a spray. I haven't put this thing on the base yet. I haven't glued it to the base yet, but just do like a little bit of a spray on there, so that they actually have a rule where they run into things and you go under those blades and it's not fun. So there we go. Very exciting. Pretty sure this thing will be on stream Monday. Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood will probably be my general. But of course, I have a lot of other daughters painting to do, including Marathi herself. So we'll see what I can get done. How'd you do, Kat? What'd you get done? I mean, what did you accomplish with your life? In the past 2.5 hours.
Blocked out all of the little black spikies. I fixed some mistakes that were on it before, and I realized that to most people it probably looks very much the same. But
No.
I had some rough like block-ins of color here, and that has been smoothed out. And it was mainly about smoothing some stuff out, because I went in and did some highlights with the brush to make them stronger, but because I had predominantly airbrushed this model before, it was getting a little hard to like blend everything in, because when you're trying to blend stuff into something that's been blended in with an airbrush,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard, and I just wanted to go back in with an airbrush.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's almost not worth it. It's almost like I need to airbrush. Yeah.
So
These looking great. I have to be serious. I'm so excited to see. I know this is a weird, random, not that weird. I'm just really excited to see these things on a base.
me too.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what base you do. I think it's gonna look crazy awesome. Do you know what you're gonna do for the bases?
No idea.
Okay. I'm sure there's gonna be.
But
I'm gonna guess flowers. There's gonna be flowers involved.
No.
You gonna like a cave?
Yeah.
Are they gonna be mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I
that's
actually
cool.
have a bunch of mushrooms
Okay.
from
The 3D printed
Cromlech.
one? Oh, Cromlech. Yeah,
Cromlech.
Also
But
cool.
I am also looking for 3D printed ones as well too, because
There
Cromlech
is a
ones.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah. Cromlech ones. They're great, right? But like, they're few and far between when we get restocks of them. So
Yeah, there is a brand that makes some. Adrian's used this brand for like sea stuff, like little shells and stuff for their deepkin. He knows the name of it. We'll get it for you.
Yeah.
Awesome, everybody! Thank you for joining us so much. We will still be here next Wednesday. I think it's gonna be Adrian and I, because you're getting ready for BAO.
Kubla Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will probably be getting ready for BAO and having to paint anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we will be here.
Wednesday is when we pack, so
Yeah.
I
So-
can't be here.
So Kat is busy. If you are gearing up for BAO,
Good luck.
Make sure you say hi to us.
Yeah.
At KublaCon or
Oh,
BAO.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll be in.
I will be a lot easier to track down. I will be in the Game Castle booth, and if I'm not there, I'm probably getting food, and then I will be right back. So
Yeah. And I'll be playing AOS. We'll remind you again next week, because we still have another week. Not trying to freak anyone out. Bay Area. No, open it. It's this weekend. Just kidding. No, it's next weekend. But that did surprise Adrian and I. You brought it up, and
Yeah, you're like, oh, what are we doing next week? I'm like, I don't know. What are you guys doing?
I mean, I kind of knew that, but he was forgetting that
was like, oh.
next weekend. He thought it was still one more weekend.
He's still on European time. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Guys, thank you so much. And as we like to say, be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, and always be creating. See you guys.